Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Night Owl. Uh, I just welcome to the. Sorry about that. Welcome to the Night Owl, a show that we do twice a week, where we talk about all the latest in pop culture news, TV and movie reviews, gaming news, and just general conversations of the day. Usually, I have myself with Price of Reason, and Professor R2 is usually here. Seems to be some kind of either outage or some kind of technical issue going on there. It's like an internet issue where he's located. So I guess for now, you just have me hanging out here. And of course, I'm happy to see you all here. Let me Istophobos is yeah, I just explained. Hopefully he should be here. I know that he's having some kind of internet issue, and we'll see how it all plays out. Uh let me let's give the professor a few minutes if somehow it doesn't work. Uh 1 second. Okay, he should be here any second. So yeah, don't worry, everything is gonna be fine. I myself am stuck, in kind of a very snowy situation. It's very cold where I'm at, so we got that, and, yeah, the professor, he is restarting his computer, and it looks like, we may be able to do something. I do have a confession, though. I do have a confession, and I'm not gonna lie to you. I, wrote to you, in my thumbnail at the very end there's something that says, Wonder Man review. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. Uh, I think that I was just exhausted, and I put Wonder Man on, and I think I made it to the end of the first episode, and then maybe there was another episode, and I feel like I dozed off. So I wanted to at least watch a few episodes of Wonder Man, but I think that all I can say is that there will probably I'll only be able to describe one episode. Not that there's much to describe, uh, but I'm hoping maybe the professor saw more of Wonder Man than I did. Yeah, Ista is always a good backup, and let's see what happens. But I think that the professor has managed to figure it out. So we're going to give him a few minutes here to get everything together. And yeah, so let's look. What did we even talk about today? What did I've been kind of tired throughout the day. It is very cold. I don't know if it's just me, but sometimes when it's very cold and all the heaters are working a lot, it makes me more tired. I don't know if I always wonder if it's something that's wrong with me or that's just the way it is. I don't know how it's like for other people. But yeah, what did we say? Trump versus Newsom. Okay. So I saw that today, like, there seems to be a bit of a, tug of war situation. I saw that like Trump was saying that he's basically, doesn't want to give any more money to Gavin Newsom, especially when it comes to the fire recovery, because nothing's been happening. And yeah, I mean, listen, this is something that for me is beyond politics, and this goes back like a number of years. I think that just if I had I always say this, if I had like a hot dog stand and I needed somebody to run it, and I did like interviews, and like a few people walk in, and one of the candidates is Gavin Newsom. I'm not hiring him. I'm not hiring him to run the hot dog stand. I don't trust him even to run the hot dog stand. Uh, it's a man that has received a lot of funds to do a lot of different things. There was the train, which he received a hundred million. I don't know what 100 billion. I don't know. It's so much money received for whatever train he's supposed to do. That didn't happen. Also, all the stuff with homeless. That he got like so many billions to help the homeless in LA, and there's just more and more homeless in LA. And people in recent years have been saying that you could have probably given every homeless person over 100 grand as a gift and try to like build them a home or something somewhere, rather than whatever happened with that money, which nobody seems to know about. So definitely, yeah. I mean, I, for me, here's the thing: is that out of all those the people that could be like, on in that political party, I think that it's kind of I don't know, it's kind of strange that Newsom is the voice that he's always like, he never takes accountability for anything. There's so much stuff going on under his watch that's wrong, and he doesn't seem to care about anything. So, yeah, kind of annoying. And Kayla Levine says, "Screw your hot dog stand. There's always money in the banana shack." Yeah, one has to wonder, but even more than that, when I zoom out, what's been becoming very clear, and that's also they were talking about Elon Omar, and she invested in a winery and all this other stuff that nobody knows what happened to the winery or the money she invested in it, how she suddenly got money from it. We keep hearing all these stories, and that's just a lot of politicians uh, getting budgets or even in personal finances, and nobody ever seems to do anything. Like there's nothing being done in any, nobody does anything. What about Trump? Trump versus Waltz? Yeah, I mean, Waltz himself, like, see, for me, Waltz, a guy that there was a problem in your state, and after you recently said that you're running your for a third term, and you see those problems, and you immediately say that you're not running for a third term. For me, I can't think of a clearer sign that there's something going on, and you know about it. Because what other reason could he have to not even run again? And I think that with whatever he knows, the best thing for him to do would be to be quiet or resign or I don't know what. Instead, like, continues to just you know, cause problems in the sense of like trying to convince all the people in his in his state to riot and to rise up and to do all this stuff with ICE. He's very very irresponsible. I guess now today he said that he wants to beat up JD Vance or something. Not really sure that that would go very well to him for him. Oh, I mean, I saw that Waltz was saying that there's something that he said that like, "Oh, like I'm gonna work with Trump." I don't know what he said. There has been a lot going on today. Yeah, the media has a lot of influence over people, and I think that that's the main thing that bothers me more than anything about things that we're seeing in Minnesota. I mean, I could be this could be an unpopular opinion or not, but I don't I'm not excited to see I I'm not excited to see people, getting hurt or anything like that. Even if I don't think without, don't agree with what they're doing necessarily, whether it's that lady with with her wife and that she hit the ice guy or the nurse guy. It's I think that this is all sad, and I feel like these people are being really egged on to do things by the people in charge there in Minnesota. Meaning, and this is my humble opinion, I think that people like, Waltz and Frey and those guys, it's more important to them to cause this kind of chaos, knowing that they're sending people to interfere wherever law enforcement is at, and putting them in a way they're I don't know if to say that they're putting them in harm's way, but in a way that's what they're doing. It's like there's some common sense. There's common sense that if there's like, law enforcement and they're doing all this stuff and they're doing their job, you don't go there to start bothering them every second. It's like I don't need it. It doesn't it hasn't it transcends politics for me. It's like generally speaking, if you're just a citizen, now I don't care, you voted for no party, you've never voted for anybody, okay? There's a bunch of like some special unit of law enforcement, federal, whatever it is, you're going to go and start interfering with their work? You think that that's a good idea? Uh I don't know, and we also see a lot of stuff that I see this a lot on Twitter that they show that like the same people, um, I think it was Tom Homan that this isn't his first rodeo. In the past, if the right president was around, if it was like right quote unquote, if it was like somebody on the left, the media would be saying that everything that's happening is great. It's just because it's the right or it's Trump doing it, then taking illegals and removing them is considered bad. I don't like this double standard, and I think that all these guys are real. Oh, Professor, how's it going?
Oh, it appears to be going okay now. Uh-oh. I'm hearing an echo back in my ears. Just a second.
So yeah, I don't know. I was just I don't even know what I was talking about, but I'm happy to see you, Professor.
There we go. That should be better.
What?
Yeah, major technical failure right before we got started the show. Nothing on my desk would connect to my computer. I have a hub that has monitors and everything plugged into it, and nothing would work. And I think it's just a bad cable, but everything seems to be functioning. So
I
I'm here
saw something with did Waltz say something that he's going to work with Trump? When was it that I saw like that he
Yeah. Oh
made it
man.
seem
So yeah, there's been so much. Sorry to have to make you start the show without me, buddy, but
it's
yeah,
okay.
there's been so much like happening. Of course, we did have unfortunately the death of another civilian, another protester, agitator, whatever you want to call him. Uh, who was by all accounts agitating, pushing, irritating the forces there. And there's a lot of things you could say about whether you think it's justified, not justified. I prefer to just wait for the investigations. There's going to be body cam footage. There's going to be lots of stuff. And I'll tell you, the one thing I don't like is all the people just rushing to judgment because they watched a 10-second clip, slowed down, and watched it frame by frame and think that they can put themselves in the feet of, in the shoes of somebody who's actually involved in a police action, who's actually involved in that, in the moment, in that second, and saying they know exactly what that officer should have done. I've known police officers, know police officers. It's an incredibly stressful job, and there's one reality that a lot of these people don't think about, and it's that those people in that job not only is incredibly stressful, but you see they want to go home to their kids at the end of the day.
It,
They want to go home to their to their wives. They want to go home to their parents. They don't have to wait for somebody who they are having in some kind of engagement with, wrestling on the ground with. They don't have to wait for that person to shoot them before it's okay to shoot back, right?
And that's also part of the common sense situation that I keep telling you about, and I was talking about now. Forget about all the politics. You see, like a unit of armed police officers, they're there to do something. You really think, and I don't care who you are, what you do, what your intentions are, you think it's a good idea to start, like, interfering in the middle of their operation while they're doing their operation,
Exactly.
while all these armed people are there? The idea of like hitting one of these people with a big SUV, the idea of like doing kind of stuff. I think this one guy, this nurse guy, apparently I think he had a firearm on him, correct?
He did, and he was licensed. To
Okay.
carry a
uh,
firearm, which is fine. Again, I don't have a problem with him as a citizen who has trained and is licensed to have a firearm to carry it. That's perfectly fine. I don't have a problem with that.
I
It
I
is thoroughly amusing to see a bunch of people on the left who hate guns and hate the idea that people would be allowed to carry them now rushing to defend, saying, "Oh, he was exercising his Second Amendment right."
no, no, but
He was exercising his Second Amendment rights. But, and I think this is probably where you're going, why Do you bring that to a situation that you know is volatile,
I agree. And
where
that's
you
the
are going to be engaging with police? Uh, This is very, very unwise to do.
these guys are trying to do their job. Meanwhile, you have people like, these kind of agitators causing problems everywhere. You have a guy walking in, even if, let's say, and I, like you said, I don't know what the investigation will be. I don't know a lot of things. Uh, Even if, let's say, this guy, his intentions were the best of intentions, walking into a situation like this, interfering with that, and having a gun, you can say, well, according to this law here, like, he's allowed to have the thing. Yeah, maybe he's allowed, but there's also a little bit of common sense here. Uh, these guys, these police, they're already like, people are throwing stuff at them, trying to like, interfere physically, and you have a guy there, and he has, a gun.
Absolutely.
This is not a good way to go. I think that the most minimum of common sense would have said, you want to go do a protest, don't bring your gun. And I think that once that you have a guy like this and he had a gun, even if from fear of getting, you know, hurt themselves, they did something. I don't know what the investigation will be, but I'm saying like on on a sort of practical and common sense level, and I don't know the guy, and I'm not saying one thing or another about him. I think that he didn't help himself by doing that. The same way that the lady, I don't know what she wanted, but driving, even if it was accidental, that she drove into the police officer, that's still not a good thing to do. In both cases, I think that these people have been egged on by other people that are trying possibly to just save their own skin, which is really annoying. They're being egged on to do these things, not for a good reason. And then at the end, they're the ones that get caught up, in these bad situations, which at least are partially, at least with the lady. I would say that she has she has some responsibility. I would say that's a mild understatement with the one with the police officer in the SUV. The other guy, I don't know. It's hard for me to tell just from that footage to really get a grasp, but I understand that when there's so much pressure going on and there's a guy with a gun that's doing agitation, it becomes a difficult situation if nothing else.
Yeah, and there have been more and more details that have come out about exactly what happened here. People saying, "Oh, he was just directing traffic. He was peacefully protesting." It's come out essentially that yes, he was one part of these online networks that were directing people, sending people to different places to agitate and push the ICE officers while they were in the executing their duties, right? And that he had been engaged in multiple different encounters with ICE in the last few days, so he was known to them, right? Again, this does not mean, hey, he's a domestic terrorist. He deserves to be, you know, offed. He deserves to have his life ended. That is not what I'm saying at all. His death is tragic. His death is sad. I feel for his family. I pray for them to give them comfort. The same as with Renee Good. Nobody needs to die that way. That's very, very sad. Um, but again, I am not going to step in and Sunday afternoon quarterback, from the couch, look at videos, look at things and say, well, obviously the officer should have done this. I'm not, I can't do that. I also can't, say, hey, the person who was the person who was agitating, either of these two people, that they should have done this or that or whatever, except to say they should have complied without question, without discussion, without screaming or blowing whistles or doing anything. When they were told by the officers to get down, to move, to do whatever, to stay on the sidewalk, they should do it. Otherwise, they are putting themselves in a bad situation, one that they did not need to be in, right? It's sad. But on the other side of things, you were talking about Waltz, we're talking about Frey, we're talking about a number of the leaders in the government and the Democratic Party in Minnesota. What's going on there? Well, we did see several things that have happened over the last few days. One was we did see there was a hotel. Did you see this price that was attacked? It was vandalized.
No, show me.
Oh, okay. So there was a hotel that was attacked on Friday. It's a few days ago. Anyway, let's see if I could find it. But um, essentially, it was rumored on these these signal chats, these different
Oh, there was the
tools.
signal chat had some people from City Hall in it. The people that work for
Ye
Waltz. No.
Indeed it did. In fact, it's pretty well understood that one of the leaders, one of the people that was part of those chats and was involved in trying to direct different actions was in fact the lieutenant governor of Minnesota, which
And I
is
would tell you,
deeply disturbing.
I would tell you that that sounds terrible. The only problem is that nothing seems to happen to anybody. It's like they keep saying, "Look, we caught him red-handed. She's doing this and this thing," and I feel like nothing is ever going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, it's at this point, it's just like you keep hearing, "Oh, we're investigating. Oh, we're doing this." And it's like at this point, sure you are, right? Like, yeah, you're investigating. Great. There seems to be, especially uh, stuff that's been collected by a bunch of citizen journalists that basically shows without a shadow of a doubt that there are members of the Democratic Party, high ranking members of the Democratic Party, who are involved in helping to agitate these riots. They're involved in essentially an insurrection against the federal government, which is insane, right? So, like I said, there was this hotel that was attacked by one of these mobs, and they smashed through the front doors. They tore up the signs outside. They broke into the interior of the building. They were in the foyer, the entryway of the hotel. They were smashing things up, destroying things. They were eventually chased out by some of the management and by security. And then eventually there was one lone guy from the Bureau of Prisons who had to stand there in that front door with a shotgun keeping people out. One dude. And you can hear him in some of the clips out there saying, "Where are the cops? Where are the local police to defend this, like to defend this business, to defend this place? What are they doing? Where are they?" That's the question, saying that's the question we should ask the press, because that's insane. This kind of thing, someone is showing up, vandalizing private property. They don't have a right to do that. They have a
True.
right to peacefully protest. They have a right to record ICE officers. Hell, they have, if they want to, as long as it's not against noise ordinances, which of course we know it is, but they can stand outside and bang pots and blow whistles and whatever, But they showed up, destroyed, vandalized a private business, and then they went through the parking lot for the hotel and were smashing up cars that they suspected belonged to federal agents. So they destroyed hundreds of thousands of dollars of private property because they just thought they might belong to federal agents, regardless of the fact that even if they did belong to federal agents, that doesn't mean you get to vandalize and destroy them. I mean, it's insane. But the local police did not show up at all. The National Guard, where were the National Guard that day? Handing out donuts
Right, to
and
the
coffee
protesters.
to protesters. That's where the National Guard was,
How is
handing
that
out
even possible?
donuts
That
and
was so
coffee.
annoying when I saw that. Why are they giving, let's just say they don't do anything, but why are they giving the protesters donuts and stuff?
Well, that would be, I mean, some people would say that's material aid that they were offering to insurgents, to insurrectionists. But I don't know. Just depends on how you want to look at it. But yeah, that's ridiculous. Tim Waltz calls up the National Guard so that they can hand out donuts and coffee to protesters. It's insane. Just absolute madness. So anyway, over the next couple of days, things go back and forth there. And then it's rumored, or not rumored, it's, been reported that yesterday there was a conversation between President Trump and Tampon Tim.
Okay. But I thought that the way,
They also,
he tried
yeah.
to present it as a big win, Waltz, for himself, right?
Oh, he's going to try and present it however he can. But there was a conversation between the two of them. And then also we saw basically a changing of the guard in Minnesota. They took out the guy who was kind of in charge of ICE there. He's basically, it looks like he's been sent back to his original assignment, which I believe was in California with the Border Patrol there. And then they sent Tom Homan, the guy who's in charge of all of this, sent him in to Minnesota to take direct control of what's going on there. And after that conversation that Trump had with Waltz, he is now openly saying that they are going to work with and cooperate with ICE to work on removing criminals from the state. And there was another attempt by these mobs that were set up through these online chats to go and attack another hotel. And this time, the state police showed up. They broke up the riot. They broke up the mob. They sent them packing. They weren't handing out donuts. They weren't giving out coffee. They broke up that mob and sent them off. And I believe there were at least a few arrests of people that were unruly, that were in the faces of the state police. So that's a major change in what's been happening there, for the state police to show up and start actually enforcing the law, and for Tim to start talking about, we're going to hand over, we're going to cooperate more with ICE to hand over more criminals. See, that's the thing. That's the ridiculous thing, is that these sanctuary cities, these sanctuary states, whatever, a big part of what they're doing as a sanctuary is literally protecting criminals. They are saying, part of their statement of being a sanctuary city, sanctuary state, is that if we catch somebody, he robbed a liquor store, he was drunk driving, she was, in some sort of domestic battery situation, whatever. It doesn't matter. Whoever it is, we catch them, and they go through the criminal system, and they have federally either a warrant, or they have a detainer, or they have a lawful deportation order. The state, the city, whoever it is, just ignores it. They just say, nope, we're not gonna help detain that person. We're not gonna help doing that. So literally, they're just protecting criminals. And what Trump has been saying from the start, and what Homan has been saying from the start, these ICE operations where they are directly sending agents into these different places, the whole point is, we're going after the criminals. We want to remove the criminals. So you have states like Texas who are cooperating, and they're deporting tons of people with significantly fewer numbers of agents there, because the state, if they catch somebody, if they pull somebody over, if they detain somebody for some reason, they see that they have a detainer, they see that there's a lawful deportation order, they turn them in, and ICE comes and gets them, right? So
you're
it's
saying
ridiculous.
that you think that Tim Waltz is now cooperating, or is he still causing problems, you think?
Right now, it seems like he's cooperating. And I don't know. This is just a guess. But given all that's popped out with these signal chats that have gotten out, with various statements that he has made over the last couple of weeks, some of the things that he said, some of the things that others in his administration have said, on top of all of the other issues with the massive amounts of fraud in his state, I think that Trump gave him an ultimatum. I really do. I think Trump told him that you're going to start cooperating with us so that we can remove those criminals from the state without any more bloodshed, or you're going to jail. Period.
So you think the signal was the thing that used Trump?
I think it was that on top of a lot of other things. I think he said, look, we've got enough, we know enough, we have enough to say you were in violation of, whatever U.S. code. I don't remember the number of it, but, whatever U.S. code to say that you are in open rebellion against the federal government, and make no bones about it. We will come and we will arrest you. This has gone far enough. No one else needs to die. No other officers need to be injured. All we want are the criminals. And to get them, the easiest, the fastest way is to get your cooperation. So if you want this temperature to go down, you want your people to be safe, you don't want to be held responsible for all of this, then start cooperating. And we'll start, when you start cooperating, we'll start pulling back on our agents. Our operations will slow down. There will be fewer of them. There'll be less impact on your communities. Or we can go the next step where you continue to push, and it's Insurrection Act, and you're going to jail. Period.
I just want this thing to stop because I think that law enforcement should be able to do their job, and two, I think that all these riots are counterproductive. They're harming the very people that they're egging them on and sending them to do the riots. This is not really helping anybody, and I think I don't know what implications there are, but when I did read about all that signal stuff over the weekend. That you think to yourself, how is this possible? How is it possible that this is happening? And yet it just keeps, all the stuff that we're surprised is happening just keeps happening. And like I said, the one feeling, and I think a lot of people are feeling that, is that so much has been uncovered, when it comes to what went on with those daycare centers and all this stuff. So much has been, uncovered when it comes to strange things involving Waltz and the people around him, strange things that perhaps maybe he was or maybe he was not involved in, him immediately saying he's not going to run, which never a good sign. All this stuff that's going on, and I haven't seen anybody do anything. It's there's something a bit, I don't know if to
Exactly.
say
Yeah.
frustrating. There's something a bit frustrating. I think that, it's just odd that nothing happens to anybody.
Yeah. It's frustrating, right? I think that if they really want to convince us that they're working on this, I think we need to see frequent updates from the FBI. Kash Patel needs to be out there doing, something, talking to us every single day, saying, here's what we're doing, here's what we found, here's here's what's being investigated. We're making progress on this, we're making progress on that. Just coming out and doing an interview on Sunday morning news talk, whatever, and saying, yep, we're working on it. We're it's just not enough. It's not enough. And so a lot of people have genuinely gotten very, very frustrated as to any real progress that seems to be made here. Isfos is saying they found the money. Okay, the signal chats and they found the money. Well, I'm not sure if which money you're talking about is to. I mean, they've found a lot of money. Um, I'm not sure which one was specifically you're talking about, but it looks like he says he emailed something to you, Price, or not emailed, but messaged something to you.
Oh, hold on
I
one
don't know.
second.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second. I'll look in a second. I'm just I was doing some kind of post. I multitask. 1 second. Okay, so let me look at
Yeah.
it says I'm not gonna share emails. I'm gonna be very good about this. Uh okay. They found where the money is coming from, but I don't see an email. Did he send me I don't
or not an email, just a DM. Sorry.
he wrote something, but I don't see a link. Did you send a link? Because all I see is something about the money supported all the protesters funneling to politicians, the money that's going directly to fund the agitators. I understand what you're saying.
You
I
talking
don't know.
about the
Was it?
one from the Marxist in China? There's been a lot of talk about that over the last few days. He's a guy who's actually been investigated by the FBI before. Uh,
Let, let me put it this way. This. I'm a practical person, and I said this also with those files that everybody loves talking about all day. I'm a practical person, and I understand that in some cases, like it's not easy, to get the kind of justice you're looking for, and blah blah blah. But come on, there's so many things going on. At least one thing somewhere, somebody doing something wrong somewhere. You know what I mean? It's like we hear about stuff that involves billions of dollars, and there isn't one person that seems to be, worried about anything. Uh, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's just it's strange to me that in so many cases we look at somebody like that Elon whatever. I mean, there's so many things that have piled up. Like, it's not if there was, let's say, one thing and it's kind of, a gray area or whatever, but there's so many things and yet nothing, like nothing, nobody does anything to anybody. Waltz, I don't know
mhm.
what he's involved in. Nobody says anything. He immediately ran away. I'm not running anymore. That's like
Yeah.
there is no to date. There's never been a person that's like been squeaky clean that immediately ran and said, "I'm not running for a third term anymore." That like I've never seen that happen. Like that Nick Shirley guy uploaded that video, and 5 minutes later, Waltz basically said, "I'm not running again," and nobody thinks that's strange.
Yeah. So Issa says, yeah, that he was talking about the guy that I'm talking about, Neville Royce Singham, who is an American citizen who is an avowed Marxist and lives in China, and coordinates with the essentially coordinates with the Chinese Communist Party to spread all kinds of stuff here in the U.S. He's a tech billionaire, and he has been known to fund a bunch of these groups like the Democratic Socialists of America to the tune of many, many millions of dollars every single year. Some people estimated that last year he put as much as $20 million into a bunch of these different things. So who's buying all the food for the autonomous zones? Who's paying for all the signs? Who's buying all of the water and stuff that's being handed out? It's him, right? And so there's been a couple of exposés that he's not actually new. He's actually been investigated by the FBI before. Of course, I think that was by Biden's FBI. So you can imagine how far that investigation went. But there's been a few different people who've done some exposés, some stuff on him, and actually just in the last few days, Bill O'Reilly has been going off on every platform he can find to talk about this guy and try and make him famous, because he is one of the, everyone talks about George Soros. They should be mentioning this guy's name in the same breath,
It's all very strange. By the way,
if not more. Yeah.
just an anecdote, just an anecdote. The dead man with this, "You lost today, kid, but you don't have to like it." I
Hmm.
finally, I finally had the chance to use this as a meme, and I was so happy. Like, I was so happy that I was able to use this in an X conversation with some weirdo. and I was able to use this meme. It's the best I've ever used this meme. I don't think I've ever even used it before. That's why when the dead man wrote it, because just recently I used it, and I felt that I felt it was kind of a slam dunk to situation. Uh, I'm just gonna. We'll get back to everything you're saying. I just want to show you this random thing.
No, yeah.
I want to
It's a
show you.
great line from Last Crusade. Yeah.
So can you see the screen?
Incredible
Let
line.
me see if I shared it. Presentation. Okay. So basically, there's been a lot of talk recently, especially with Kennedy stepping down and people whining about the acolyte, and I don't know what. There's been a lot of weirdos that are still trying to sort of, sell weird shills that are trying to sell her tenure as some kind of success because she only lost like billions and billions of dollars or whatever it is. So it started with something with Robot Head that he was kind of going, back and forth with some guy. Uh, they were talking about Solo. If Solo was affected by the Last Jedi's, disappointment with fans, if they took it out on Solo. Now, I 100% am telling you that that the Last Jedi had an impact on Solo.
Oh,
100%.
it absolutely did. I mean, I wasn't particularly interested in Solo, but one of the reasons I didn't go to the theater was because I wasn't interested in seeing any Star Wars after The Last Jedi.
Uh,
I wanted them to pay for having put me through that, to be quite
during
honest.
during my investigation that I did at the time, like with Gina Carano and everything that happened there, I actually uncovered a situation where, in my humble opinion, I kind of caught what seemed like to be the people that Lucasfilm. I want to do a disclaimer here. It based on the information that I reviewed, that's the impression I got, that they perhaps had a hand in trying to maneuver the narrative, because after The Last Jedi, they felt the backlash. They knew that that Solo wasn't tracking well, and that there was a lot of kind of venom towards this movie now, whether it was good or not. And they had a few things that they tried to do for damage control. I actually, in my humble opinion, this is my opinion, caught them red-handed in that investigation. We'll get back to that in a second. But what happened here was, like, some guy was here, and Robot Head was saying, like, Moron literally can't follow the simple idea that the Last Jedi backlash had an effect on Solo's success. Even Jedi fans don't argue that fact. 7 years on, and there's always a new clown. Then this guy, because I'm telling you about me using the meme, okay? So
Mhm.
he says, "Is the meme still highlighted?" Oh no, I didn't highlight. This is the one with from the Indiana Jones meme. So the person wrote, "This is returned. Why did it affect Solo, not Rise of Skywalker? The one that continued the story, and not the one that had nothing to do with it. Please explain." Or it's because Solo was a straight and you're coping. Fact, all new Star Wars led by minority made more money. Go ahead, twist yourself in a pretzel, figuring that one out, loser. Now, this is like so many mental gymnastics in one.
It it did. Here's the thing. It did have an impact on Rise of. It had an impact on both of them because it split the fandom and people left. They didn't come back. They
So,
hated
so
what they
first of
did
all,
with that movie and we're not interested in seeing any more.
I 100% agree with you. So what I did was I took like the numbers for the Rise of Skywalker, and I put it here. And you see, like, the budget, the net, the box office, and then, which obviously if you do any kind of calculation, you realize that it lost money. So I wrote, the Rise of Skywalker cost $489 million to make after rebates. And while I meant I suspect, I corrected it with another thing. I suspect you're not savvy enough to understand. That means it needed to make 2.5 times that, which is 1.22 billion at the box office, in order to break even. And since it made 1.07 billion, that means it flopped. Solo flopped too. That's why after those movies, we haven't had any more Star Wars movies to date. At the end of the day, Kathleen Kennedy turned the biggest franchise in entertainment into a failing IP. You obsessing over people's skin color is an odd choice when the numbers are out there right in front of you. And yes, The Last Jedi is considered the movie that caused the most damage to the Star Wars franchise. Even if you personally enjoyed the movie, on a business level, it marks a downturn in the health of the Star Wars brand. It saw a significant major decline in repeat theatrical viewings and home media sales versus The Force Awakens. All true, by the way. Like,
Yeah.
people don't realize this. The Force Awakens, part of the reason that it made so much money is that at the time, even if a lot of longtime fans didn't think it was the best movie in the world, it wasn't like flat out offensive enough for them to hate it at that moment, especially when the ending of it teased the return of Luke Skywalker. And just for that, you got a lot of people. I myself don't usually go to movies multiple times. I went multiple times to see The Force Awakens. I went on opening night. I went at least I'm ashamed to say that I think I maybe even went 2 more times, and that is very rare for me. I don't go multiple times, but, I was sitting there excited for 2 years waiting for Luke to return, you know what I mean? So, I knew it wasn't a perfect movie, but this idea that, like, we're gonna get, like, Luke Skywalker returning and being Luke Skywalker was really exciting for me. I'm very embarrassed now about this, Professor. How many times did you see it? Did you see it just once?
Uh, let's see, I believe I saw it in the no, I may have only seen it in the theater once. But
You're
at that
lucky.
point, it was well. Here's the. It was kids were pretty young. We weren't going to the theater a lot those days. I think we had a date night, and my wife and I went to see it. Because at that point my son was still a little too young for the theaters. So, yeah, yeah, I think I only saw it once. I thing is, I saw Last Jedi twice.
Oh, that's terrible. That's terrible.
Yeah, I saw a lot. Well, because I went to see it and then came out of it nauseous and feeling awful. And then my son was insistent, that he really, really wanted to see it. He wanted to see Star Wars. So, okay, I took him to see it. And anyway, yeah,
Caleb Levine
it
says,
was
caught him
miserable.
red-handed, private investigator Price on the scene. You know what? I'm going to show, even though it'll be a weird sidetrack, we'll get back, but I want to actually, if I can find that segment, and I'll show you, because nobody ever even watched my investigation. It was such a good investigation. I feel like until today, I'm the only one that appreciates the good work that I did, Professor. But in any case, this guy says, he answers me, the point of skin color, quote unquote, the other side of an equally stupid the argument, it reached $1 billion worth of interest. Worth of interest? What do you mean? If the movie costs, like, if it needs to make 1.22 billion dollars, and he's saying it
Well,
made $1 billion worth of interest, he
it
doesn't
made
mean interest like
it sold more tickets. That's
Solo
literally
did
all
not.
he's
I
saying.
understand the
It
production
sold
was
more tickets than Solo did.
he wrote
Okay, so what? Solo
yeah.
was a bad idea to start with.
Exactly. So this guy, it doesn't end here. I understand the production was a mess, which was later rectified. Moral of the story: don't go into trilogy without a script, which Kathy also abided by. And then he writes to me, "Don't pull the 'you don't know what you're talking about' here, kid. Yes, movie did not profit due to overblown production, but it still sold $1 billion worth of tickets. Solo did not. Where am I wrong?" There is so much stupid things in his tweets. Like every sentence could be addressed as really stupid one after the other. And then I just wrote, Solo also would have been profitable had it not been filmed twice, but much like with the rise of Skywalker's box office, all that matters is the bottom line. In that sense, both movies were box office flops, and you obsessing over people's skin color won't change that. And then I used the meme. And especially because he said that he's a kid, he's like, "Don't make me look like a kid." And then I put like, "You lost today, kid, but that doesn't mean you have to like it." And the fact that this is from Indiana Jones, it kind of puts like the end that we're talking about Solo and all that stuff. I felt like if there was ever a moment to pull out this meme, this was it. This was my moment. And you know what? He never responded. He was responding all day and all night, but at this point, when he understood that like this was it, didn't respond. And it's so funny that a lot of these weird shills, they'll write a bunch of weird excuses that make no sense whatsoever, and then finally, when even they understand they're cornered in a way that like even they don't know how to squirm out of, they just disappear. Some of them, you like, I'll give this guy credit for one thing. I recently had a situation that was similar to this, and this has happened to me a lot over the years. When the person sees the point where no longer can make the arguments, you know what they do?
What's that?
They block you.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I
No,
had I got one of those today. Somebody being an absolute moron and me basically showing him to his face that he was lying, and then of course, yeah, he blocked me. So, yeah.
So basically, they do the blocking, and then the other thing that they like to do, and this is the most irritating one. Uh, what happens is they write one final comment, like, "That's because you're not smart, you're a stupid, nincompoop," or whatever stupid shit they write, and then, like, then they block you. And why do they do that? Because you can't answer, the thing, you
Oh, yeah.
can't answer it, so they leave, like, on a high note. That's, like, a lot of stuff that they do. I'm already even good at this, like, sometimes I'm already, like, I have even like a strategy what to do when that happens, but I don't wanna talk about it here publicly. But even when that happens, like, I don't, like, it doesn't please me, like, I usually, find a way to still end the situation where that person doesn't look good. But let's just leave it at that. In any case,
Oh, yeah.
I think this was good use of the meme, no?
Oh, yeah. That's good.
Did I like I know I don't impress you much, but I think that this is the time. This is it.
This is, well,
Oh,
I'll show you
sorry,
one.
the
This
dead man. You have super chats. I'm so sorry. I apologize.
Yeah,
That's my
yeah.
bad. Uh, okay, 1 second, the dead man. I am addressing
Why don't
them
you
right
pull
now.
why don't you pull those up? We can share my, this tweet here while you're pulling those together.
Okay, I'll share this.
The my screen.
Okay.
Yeah. And while you pull those, super
Is
chats
that the
together.
thing
So
that they tried to make
the
him look nicer for the picture?
Yes. Okay. So this was a controversy that's going on today. MSNBC and other groups have been using this picture of Preddy,
Right.
Alex Preddy, which is clearly not the same picture. This is the picture that was being used earlier, and then this is a picture here, and there's no other picture. This is like his official ID picture,
Right.
right? So where did this picture come from? Well, from the looks of it, it's pretty clear where it came from. It has been AI enhanced.
Right,
They
but who
changed the
AI
color of
enhanced
his
it?
skin. His beard looks different. His smile is different. His ears have a slightly different shape. And if you look, you can see here there's some differences in the way that his scrubs are laying here. So people have been arguing this today, like, oh, this is whatever. And so this absolute dimwit started saying, "Oh no, they just added colors for contrast so that it would look better than the original photo." So I said, "Oh, and adding colors changed his smile, his scrubs. That's all totally normal, right? This is clearly edited. It's AI enhanced, and no journalistic organization with any integrity should be using it. Period."
Absolutely,
And he
yeah.
says, "Wrong. It's just colorized," and provides this picture of Abraham Lincoln, which has been colorized. But you'll notice something. This photo has also been edited. You can see all the repairs that were made to the photo. This wasn't only colorized. This photo
Right.
is also edited. So I replied, no, colorizing doesn't change his smile or adjust the folds on his scrubs. It's been edited. Just look at the neckline of his scrubs. So he posts this, you might need counseling. You need a brain, okay? These are the types of things that you see with AI enhancement when you do AI enhancement on photos.
Right.
It adds details that didn't exist in the first place, and it smooths out other details that were there in the original photo. You can see it. Just look at the scrubs, the way the scrubs are laying here.
Right.
They're folded differently.
Yep.
The way the shadows lay here is different.
True.
There's details here. There's details showing back here that didn't exist in the original photo. He has what appears to be sort of like a mole or something on his neck. It's gone in this other edition of the photo, this other edit. This is clear indication that this is a manipulated photo. And what do you think he did, Price?
He blocked you.
He blocked me.
It's so annoying. Like, at least
He's a
this,
dumbass.
right? But I mean, the thing is that if I'm ever in an argument or whatever it is, a discussion, and somebody will genuinely prove that I don't know what I'm talking about, they'll say, "Okay, look, this and this and this." I'm not gonna just keep arguing. I mean, there have been times it's very rare, but I'm saying, like, there could be theoretically a time that I'll be like, "Okay, I wasn't aware," or I, made a mistake. I am happy to admit that, although usually when I start arguing with somebody, I try to make sure that I know what I'm talking about, but if somebody really explains something like that to me, like what you just did, my response wouldn't be to block the person. I'd just say, "Okay, well, maybe I was wrong here." I mean, sometimes, in some cases, as sort of dumb and weird as you are, I'm not saying about us or just anybody in general, saying that you made a mistake, it's not a bad thing. I mean, it's not terrible for a person to admit. Sometimes being a man is also saying, okay, you know what, I got this wrong. That's not a bad thing. But these people are always like, "Nee, nee, 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 nee." You say that, and either they run away and never come back, or they run away and block you, or whatever it is that they do. Uh, yeah, this I saw this photo that you're showing now that that somebody.
Yeah, tomorrow that's gonna be him, right? They're showing that yeah, that'll be him next week, right?
Right.
I like this one too.
I mean, the thing is, I do feel bad that this guy died, so I'm not trying to, like, laugh or anything.
So do I. It's just this ridiculousness of going
It
out
it
there and
is ridiculous.
trying to defend the fact that a mainstream
I
media
know.
organization is using photography that is not real. It's been changed and edited for them to present their own little idea of reality. That is completely dishonest. I know people who work in journalism, work as journalistic photographers. I had a friend once. He took a picture, and it was a photo that he was taking of a congressman or something, and he was furious because he got like a great shot and everything was right, the smile, eyes, everything. He wanted to use this shot, but from the angle that he was at, there was a tree behind him, and the tree was coming, looked like it was coming up out of his head, right? And he just didn't see it in the lens when he was getting this photo, and he was furious. And I said, why don't you just edit the tree out? And he looked at me like I had told him to stab a nun. Like, he's like, "You don't do that. This is journalistic photography. This photograph has to be the photograph that was taken at the time, at the place. I can adjust colors, I can change, things like that, but I can't go in and edit this photograph or it's not fit to be printed in the paper." Like, "Oh, wow, okay. Did not." Like that's someone who takes that seriously. They take the integrity of that kind of thing seriously. So, that's yeah. Anyway, let's get to these super chats. We don't want to leave Dead Man waiting any longer.
Oh, sorry, yeah. I apologize for that, dead man. We got you. Okay. So I'm gonna share this right now. Price, I bring grizzly bears to games all the time. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, the dead man, I hope he didn't run away. Are you still here, the dead man? Okay, yeah.
He's still
Uh,
there. He's still the chat.
this was in my review for episode 3 of Starfleet Academy, where I said that basically there was a part. Did you watch this thing? Did you watch this crappy Starfleet Academy thing?
The third one,
Yeah.
I did not watch it directly, but I've seen many
You've
reviews
seen
of it.
enough so you understand. They do some
Yeah,
kind of like
yeah.
laser tag game,
Oh, the
and
laser. They literally, one of the people refers to it as laser tag. This isn't laser
it's so
tag.
stupid. Yeah, they refer to it as laser
Oh
tag,
my
and
god.
then the hologram girl, basically, she shouldn't be able to play this game because if you shoot and you can't eliminate her from the game, she can't be eliminated. Then how can she legitimately be in a game where she basically it's like a cheat code for a video game where you have like how you put in a cheat code and the Mario can't die no matter what you do. Uh, that's what she is in this game. So her being in this situation is a problem. And when those war cadets understand that they're being fooled with this girl who basically is invincible, they say something that's like not above board. And then so I don't remember now because this thing I don't want to watch it again. But I think somebody kind of tells him that there's no rule that says that like she can't be in the game or whatever it is. And in my review, I basically said, well, there's no rule that you can't bring a grizzly bear with you to join your team, but
Yes.
you know, you don't see a grizzly bear walking around there and like, you know, eating them all. So basically, it's like it's the dumbest thing ever. It's like, no, we can totally bring this hologram.
No, it's
How?
totally okay if we bring the thing that totally helps us cheat in the game.
It's
Yeah,
totally
totally
like it's
fine.
above board, and they're all like, okay. It's like there is so much like mental issues, mentally challenged people in that school. Then the dead man says, Professor R2, you bigot for daring to criticize Star Trek Academy. I think I swallowed my comm badge as Shakespeare level. How dare you?
Well, I don't really know how to respond to that dead man other than to say I'm deeply sorry for criticizing Star Trek Academy, and I will try better to not mock morons who are so stupid that they would swallow a piece of technology equipment on their first day. I'll try better. Yeah, that's definitely Shakespeare, and I that wasn't that in Hamlet. Yeah, he forsooth I've doth swallowed thine bare bodkin or something. I don't know.
So I wanted to do this. You're going to suffer now, Professor, because I found this video and I want to show you my investigation because nobody ever looked at it. Maybe now somebody can appreciate the work I did. I haven't watched this in like 2 years, so I have no idea what we're about to look at. But this was when I was explaining, you know, some of the things that were going on with the Last Jedi. I think. Hold on, let me see. Okay. I'm sorry if you suffer, okay? Are you ready?
Bring it.
Okay.
Become a major issue.
Okay, I had a higher voice then, so please understand that.
Regardless, Kennedy would become a media darling as the entire industry would crown her as the most powerful woman in Hollywood. It was also because of its early success that I think Kennedy had been given carte blanche to make the sequel to Force Awakens any way she pleased. This meant that if she wanted to dial up her ideological messaging from a 5 to a 10, nobody would be able to stop her, especially as the Me Too movement was brewing in the background. I assume that in Kennedy's mind, after playing fourth fiddle to the likes of Lucas and Spielberg her whole career, she was finally getting the credit that she deserved. She was the captain now, and naturally, everybody around her probably told her that she was the best. Everybody except for one man, who I suspect knew that she was out of her depth and where it was all heading. George Lucas himself. In a 2015 interview after his removal from the sequel trilogy, Lucas likened Disney and by extension Kennedy to, the type of people that appeared in the movie Roots as owners? Sorry, I'm trying to keep this video PG. He would, of course, walk back this statement, likely due to legal reasons, and say that he misspoke and that Disney and Kathleen Kennedy were doing a heck of a job. For the next few years, the overall public perception of Kennedy and Lucasfilm was mostly positive, but in 2017, this sentiment would come to a screeching halt. The Last Jedi, which at the time had been one of the most highly anticipated films of all time, ended up being extremely divisive and alienating many longtime Star Wars fans. While The Force Awakens had teased the return of Luke Skywalker in the film's final shot, The Last Jedi, its direct sequel, was supposed to have been Luke's triumphant return to the franchise. Regardless of how you feel about The Last Jedi, there are 4 facts about it that cannot be disputed. Number 1. It made significantly less money than its predecessor in the Skywalker saga in ticket sales, merch sales, and physical media sales, even though it boasted the return of the franchise's most popular and iconic character. Number 2. It was a divisive movie that didn't see the type of repeat viewings that its predecessor did. Number 3. Most fans that didn't like the movie didn't like the way Luke Skywalker was portrayed in it. Number 4. A significant amount of fans felt that making Luke Skywalker a weak coward that abandons his friends and family was an agenda-driven decision rather than a creative one. This had been the first time since Kathleen Kennedy was named president where there was a real public backlash targeted specifically at her. A growing community of online fans had questioned Kennedy's ability to lead the Star Wars brand, as well as her apparent conversion of the franchise from beloved sci-fi IP into her own personal social justice platform. But in addition to the growing fan backlash, Kathleen Kennedy had an additional problem brewing in the background. Her next Star Wars anthology movie, Solo, was already almost done filming by directors Chris Lord and Phil Miller when she abruptly fired them and replaced them with veteran director Ron Howard, who had to reshoot most of the movie. This poor management was not only costly, it once again highlighted Kennedy's weakness as the creative leader of Star Wars. In my opinion, at this point, if Kathleen Kennedy were a man, she would have been fired. However, with Disney CEO Bob Iger considering a run for president at the time and the rise of the Me Too movement, firing the recently crowned most powerful woman in Hollywood wouldn't have seemed so progressive. So with Lady Luck in her corner, Kennedy probably figured that she'd just have to control the media narrative and then find a way to silence her detractors, and then all would be well. Just 11 days after the release of The Last Jedi, something seemingly minor happened that flew below most people's radar. In fact, though, in my opinion, this event would mark the beginning of a new era at Lucasfilm, an era of media manipulation and the discrediting of any legitimate criticism towards Lucasfilm whatsoever, all with the intent of protecting Kennedy's status and reputation. It was on December 26th that Screen Rant had posted an article discussing a reported leak from inside Lucasfilm that not only were Lucasfilm uneasy about the fan backlash towards The Last Jedi, Solo wasn't shaping up to be a good movie either, and it would likely bomb at the box office. Up until that moment, thinking that a Star Wars movie, even an arguably unnecessary anthology one, was going to be a major box office failure was inconceivable. This was also one of the first times where fan backlash towards The Last Jedi was even mentioned in the Access media, but immediately after the article was posted, something strange happened. An update was added before the actual article itself, clarifying that a news source, a seemingly more reliable source, had debunked this vicious rumor. According to this new and seemingly credible source, Solo was looking great, and Lucasfilm were confident that it was going to be a huge box office success. And while Screen Rant itself wasn't much of a publication, the source of this correction was a man called Jordan Maison of the very much lesser-known publication Cinelinx. Looking at it now, in retrospect, it's pretty clear that the rumor was 100% true. So who was Jordan Maison? Where did he come from? Is it possible that somebody from Lucasfilm had requested his help in squashing this rumor? At the time,
Are you still with me, Professor?
Yeah, I'm there.
nobody gave it much thought, but the real surprise came upon the release of the Solo movie. You see, one of Lucasfilm's licensing deals for the movie Solo was with Topps Trading Cards, and can you guess who would contribute his very own artwork for these official Star Wars trading cards? That's right, the very much lesser-known reporter, Jordan Maison, who also fancies himself as an artist. How do I know this? Much like Jermaine Lucier, he did a victory lap on Twitter. A closer look into Jordan Maison showed that he had contributed artwork to other Star Wars Topps collections over the years, while at the same time contributing several articles for StarWars.com, the official Star Wars website owned and operated by Lucasfilm. Although
that art looked like ass, by the way.
Lucasfilm employee, to me it appears that Maison had operated as some type of independent contractor throughout the years, while moonlighting as a seemingly objective, but very much lesser known, news publication. Now, some of you may be thinking, maybe he did all of this work for Lucasfilm for free, and in any case, even if he was getting paid, why does this even matter? And these are legitimate thoughts to have for sure, but this wouldn't be the last time we'd run into Jordan Maison. Now let's jump forward in time to February 2021. After Gina Carano's firing in a high-profile interview with Ben Shapiro at the Daily Wire, Carano stated that while she felt bullied for her views while working at Lucasfilm, she had no ill feelings towards her Mandalorian co-star, Pedro Pascal. In my opinion, this interview was a signal to Lucasfilm that they may have thought that they could fire Carano with no consequences, but she was ready and willing to put up a fight. At the time of this potentially damaging interview for Lucasfilm, another interesting event occurred. Jordan Maison used a quote from his interview in order to mock Carano on Twitter with a meme suggesting that Pascal was already in the process of blocking her on social media. Knowing that Maison had been working with Lucasfilm in some capacity for years, I thought that not only was his tweet in poor taste, it also proved that perhaps Gina was right about feeling bullied by her colleagues. Also, the timing of Maison's tweet, which saw a lot of traction, seemed odd as Gina's interview presented them in a negative light. Surely they would want to try to swiftly diminish or dismiss her claims, and perhaps the people in their social network would be looped in on their sentiments. I then tweeted my thoughts about Jordan Maison's behavior and went about my day. Within a few hours, a series of events had unfolded that I myself hadn't even anticipated. Jeremy of Geeks and Gamers, a YouTuber with hundreds of thousands of followers, saw my tweet and uploaded a video where he had mentioned it.
Price of Reason is doing a good job of consolidating a lot of this information. These are the people at Lucasfilm that I've been telling you about for years. It is a left-wing echo chamber. That's all it is. And they are the legit bullies. They will run you out of a job. They will get you fired, and then they will shame you after the fact.
Over 68,000 people watched this video, and I suppose that this was brought to Jordan Maison's attention. That is likely why Maison then screenshotted my tweet and made some dismissing remarks about it, implying that he didn't actually have a working relationship with Lucasfilm. This irritated me, as in my tweet I had suggested that he was a Lucasfilm writer and stooge. Given what I had already known about him, it appeared to be a rather accurate description. In order to try and challenge his new narrative, I went to the StarWars.com website, owned and operated by Lucasfilm, and entered his name. Sure enough, he was listed on the website with his own profile, suggesting that he was considered a member of their team, at least in some capacity. If he had nothing to do with them, why would his profile and bio appear there? I then posted a screenshot of Jordan Maison's official StarWars.com bio, and can you guess what happened? The next time I went to Maison's Twitter profile, I was blocked. And the next time I searched for Maison on the official StarWars.com website owned and operated by Lucasfilm, he was gone, along with his bio. Now let's jump forward to present day. Remember Pablo Hidalgo?
So I thought that was pretty cool. I know nobody cares, but wasn't that pretty interesting?
That was insightful. That took some work, man.
It did, and the thing is like I caught him red-handed. This guy is like lying through his teeth. You know, even you said the best thing that you said here was that those cards don't even look good. So imagine he does them favors. He's like scratching their back, and they're letting him do those cards. His cards look awful. Like it can only be because somebody's doing him a favor. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, those are crap.
This is like the quality Leering Center of Lucasfilm, if you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, agreed.
Double R Star said that voice is irritating, like a high pitched AI. That was my voice. I used to up pitch my voice because at the time when I started, I thought that this was a little puppet with a funny little voice, and I was going to do something more funny with it. And over time, I just kept on like lowering the pitch and lowering the pitch and lowering the pitch, and at the end, I just gradually. I was doing streams already, and people knew what I really sounded like. So I figured, fuck it. Sorry, Sean. But hopefully, whoever was here and stayed awake for that little clip, I thought that was pretty thorough investigating.
Indeed, it was.
And the thing that was interesting to me is that the whole time, I'm happy for Gina if she worked out her issues and they paid her probably a settlement that we can't begin to comprehend how big that settlement was, in my opinion. I think we don't fully understand how big that settlement must have been, in my opinion. I don't know. I could be wrong, but when you have like Elon Musk bankrolling the trial, like bankrolling the legal team and bringing the best lawyers, and Disney folding, I suspect they weren't folding for like $3. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it had to be a pretty massive settlement.
If they paid Scarlett Johansson for something that she did, they paid her like $50 million. I would argue that this, I would think that this would be more, because with Scarlett Johansson, even if this would have gone to trial of them arguing over some back end of the movie, as bad as that is for them, imagine what this would be.
Oh yeah, agreed.
Like, this is a disaster of epic proportions. Like, them sitting in trial with Kathleen Kennedy on the stand. Imagine that delusional lady sitting around with her emails. I can't the disaster that would have been there is just like, hard to understand. But I really hope that all of that would happen, because I think that in that case they would have had to have started to, like, to bring people like this Jordan guy, possibly just speculation. I don't know. And here at Price of Reason, I don't take responsibility, but perhaps they would have, brought some of these people in these circles, possibly to testify. And man, I think that would have not been a good look for them.
No, it would not.
Yeah,
Not
so
one bit.
morphed in from Akbar into a goldfish. Yeah, I mean, listen, and just so you know, that video that you just saw along with me, the other one, I had like 2 investigations. Probably some of the videos that I've worked the hardest on, and I'm most proud of. The only thing that I'm kind of sad is that I didn't do the third part, because nobody was watching. I spent so much time and energy on it, and I just uploaded, and like 3 people watch it, and I'm just like, okay, nobody cares. I tried even interesting people in our circles that I thought would be interested in it. Nobody cared. I'm not trying to, like, to say after the fact, but I think that at the time, if more people within our community would have shared something like that and talked about it more, I actually think that perhaps it would have put some pressure on some people. But I guess people do whatever they do. Not trying to point any fingers at people that disappointed me. Where was I?
Mhm.
How did we get here, Professor?
All over the place. Hey, we do have another super chat from the dead man. I can share it real quick.
Okay.
Oh, where'd it go? That's not it. That's not it. There we go. Okay, so we have the dead man for a $4.99. You're on a plane and you overhear the pilot say, "I think I swallowed my cell phone." And the co-pilot says, "Already? Do you stay on the plane?"
Hold on. I'm playing over here. I think it's...
You hear the pilot say, "I think I swallowed my cell phone." Like, I think I swallowed my comm badge.
I see. I got it.
I think
now.
I swallowed my cell phone. And the co-pilot says, "Already? Do you stay on that plane?"
I noticed that in future episodes, they seem to have removed that, special
The
girl
ditz,
that
yeah, the weirdo. Yeah. She hasn't
don't
been
know,
around.
we
Well,
don't...
I don't know. We'll see. I bet she gets her own episode coming up real soon, but I don't know.
The thing is,
I was going to show you something here too. Oh, go ahead.
Future said, could re-release as premieres and then add the third part. In my mind, I was so gung-ho at the time, and it wasn't just like, of course, when you make a video, you want people to watch it because, like, you put in the work and you want the views. It's a natural instinct. But with those videos, it wasn't a matter of just like, oh, I want a few extra views. I thought I was doing everybody a real service, and I was so invested in it. I did so much research for those 2 videos, and I was in the midst of like researching for the third one, really trying to bring all my points home. The level of apathy from everybody, which I don't really know why, it just took the wind out of my sails. And if I try to do it now, after all this time, I don't know if I can get into that mindset again. A lot of people also shut down their accounts. There were situations that I showed a lot of social media accounts for these employees. I don't know if I would have the right information now to even make the same case as strong as I would have a few years ago. And I am sad, maybe beyond, aside from how I felt personally, just sort of as a responsibility, as a historic responsibility, I should have done the third part. I really should have. I regret not doing it, but there's not a lot I can do now. What were you going to say, Professor?
Oh, no, it's fine.
No, you were going to say
sorry.
something. I think.
No. So, I was mentioning this in the chat earlier because everyone seems to think I'm crazy. Okay, so here's your little icon, right, for the members. Okay, this is what I'm seeing on my end for mods.
That's very strange.
They must be doing an A/B test or something. They've replaced the wrench. See, I'm not crazy. I'm seeing shields in place of the wrench for mods. It's really weird.
Let me see what I see. There's a song like that. No, that's Do you see what I see? What is it?
Ah,
Do you
yes.
see what? Well, I can't. How come I can't sing it? Do you see what I see? And I think that in
There you go.
Gremlins that song exists, although I don't know why I think it's in Gremlins. Do you see what I see? Why do I think that that appears in Gremlins? For me, it's
I
Wrench.
mean, it could appear in Gremlins. Obviously, that is a Christmas movie. It has many Christmas.
Istophobos says that he thinks that she was paid $7 million plus her guaranteed projects. ScarJo's settlement was huge because it reflected box office
Yeah.
points. You know, I
I actually. Oh, go ahead.
I tend to think that 7 million is a very low amount considering what she could have gotten out of them. If I'm her and I can't tell people what to do and not to do, I don't think that $7 million is the number that gets that done. Like, considering what they've done to her and to her career and all that, it's the type of thing where you know you're going to get one payday and I don't know what else, unless whatever projects you're talking about end up bringing in like tens of millions of dollars each. I don't think that $7 million gets it done.
Yeah, I'm not. If you have a source for that, it's cool. I'd love to see it. I'm not finding that. I did a couple of different AI searches looking to see if there were any numbers published anywhere. Both of them told me that no specific figure has ever been shared, and it's all the guesses. Everything's just speculative. So
the lawyers,
it seems like it would have to be more than that, really.
The lawyers sorry, didn't mean to.
Exactly. No, you're right. As I said, the lawyers would be fighting for much more than that, because obviously, I mean, even though sort of their services were guaranteed by by Elon Musk, I'm guessing that they were getting a bite of whatever that settlement was, and the lawyers always fight for maximum payout because they know that they're getting a good chunk of it. So
also, to be fair, I'm sure that, $7 million, it's not $2 for Gina Carano. I'm sure that if you give her $7 million, she wants that money. I'm sure of it. But to be fair, she wasn't sitting in the middle of the street, like, with that kind of, collecting donations. You know what I mean? She was, in spite of everything they tried to do with her at that point, she was still pretty solidly set up from all of the stuff she's done throughout her career. I don't think that do you get what I'm trying to say? If let's say it were me and somebody said, here's $7 million, my response would be like, thank you, I'll take the money, I'll see you later. Because for me, $7 million, that's what I need right now. Like I will 100% take it. But for Gina Carano at that moment in time, I'm not saying she had like $7 billion, but $7 million seems awfully low, considering that Disney didn't want, Disney were worried because the PR crisis that could happen with having Kennedy at this trial, having to bring out her emails and read stuff. I don't think people understand the damage that would have caused. And I think that any lawyer, anybody involved in anything would have known that like that is such a serious thing that they have. Disney kept on trying to make it so that the judge will throw that out or make it so that they don't need to do discovery and all this stuff. And once they lost that, once they understood that they had lost that front and they were going to do discovery, that's when they started offering our money. And I don't think that a company like Disney, $7 million is nothing for them. That's like they when Bob Iger like sneezes into like a little toilet paper and throws it at in the garbage, that's like he can like sneeze into like a $7 million bill and throw it away and nobody will notice. You know what I mean? Like that's not real money, in my opinion.
Yeah. You can highlight Ista's chat if you want.
He says, yeah, I do. I had a couple industry insiders say it would never be over 10 million. And I know a Disney accountant. She told me typical settlements are much lower than people suspect. Everything you're saying is true. Everything, you had somebody, suing, Kathleen Kennedy for like the acolyte. She was there. She wasn't there. She was supposed to be executive. She wasn't supposed to be executive. That's a situation where somebody gives her like, a few $100,000 or $1 million to go away. I could believe all of that. There's a lot of settlements. Most of the settlements that you talk about would be that. Gina Carano, with Elon Musk's financial backing and, him bringing like the best lawyers, which he's paying for, and what they did to her, and the fact that she's not poor and already has money in the bank, 7 million, I don't see it. I don't see it. I think that is, that to me, it doesn't compute personally. Uh, I'm not saying that I'm the world's best industry insider. I have whatever insider knowledge that I have, and I'm not saying like that I'm the top of any kind of pyramid. I always tell you that I'm like the bottom of any kind of pyramid, but I think that $7 million sounds very low. You know, I've seen
Yeah.
situations where like people got like I don't know. It's just not there, not there. I know that Disney were genuinely worried about that trial.
Hmm.
Like
I mean,
you know what I'm
you
going to go
say,
out and
yeah,
sorry, go on.
yeah.
What were you going to say?
No, no, no. I just Ista was saying Elon lost interest. It wasn't gung ho about continuing. 7 million is not nothing. Uh, it's not nothing, but it's one half of a day that the parks make in a 365-day year. 7 million is absolutely nothing to Disney. So, yeah, it's a lot to
I think
somebody,
listen, I understand what
but
you're
that's
saying,
like
Mr.
that's
Phobos.
like one half of one day out of the year from
Is the Phobos?
Disney
Sorry, go on.
revenues.
I'm didn't
No,
mean
no,
to
no.
cut.
I'm done. I'm done. Go ahead.
Okay. What I want to say, I suppose the money reflected what she might have lost from her own show, and monetary value of the guaranteed project is huge. Thought the same thing, but it's not going to be tens of millions. I think we can agree to disagree on this one. I respect you, Phobos. I'm not. Neither of us were privy to that agreement, which is confidential. So we can both say whatever we say, and there's really not an easy way to prove one of us right or one of us wrong. But I guess if we're just giving our own thoughts and opinions here, the richest man in the world who has like hundreds of billions of dollars. I meant to say millions, billions of dollars, uh, financing this lawsuit with the best legal team, and a woman who has money in her bank account already, for them to agree to $7 million is really odd. And I don't necessarily. It's like you're saying, oh, Elon was tired of the lawsuit already. I don't think that's how that works. I think that Elon went all in, and they needed to pay $7 million is nothing for the kind of people dealing with this thing. Most lawsuits, you're right. Most lawsuits in workplaces don't end in $7 million. Most lawsuits would end in significantly less. And if you just look at the money that she lost and all that stuff, sure, you could say that it is not worth more than 7 million. But that wasn't why they were suing them. They were suing them for basically blacklisting her and destroying her career. And in that
Yeah.
sense, it's not just the money she lost on the shows. They made her agency and the media basically make her persona non grata. This is a real issue. Once you bring out any emails that make it seem like a targeted effort, and I can say that even with my own investigation of the 2 videos that I did, that I picked up on things. Once like professional lawyers dig into that and start doing what I did, but with discovery, I really think that it's specifically because we know how that company operates, or we think we know, like when it comes to Lucasfilm. I'll be careful with my wording. I think that because we know the mentality that goes on in this company, uh, I would be very worried if discovery happened and they started sharing emails. And it's no coincidence that at that time they settled. If they would have settled after one day, I would have said maybe you're right. It's the fact that it was like the discovery thing that they couldn't get rid of, and then there was a settlement, not too long after, gives me the feeling that in that case it was real money. So I don't believe it was 7 million. I don't believe it was 10 million either. I think that at minimum, I don't think it's less than what like Scarlett Johansson got. Points or no points, because with Scarlett Johansson, they may have argued about points for a movie, but they didn't go out and make her agent and management fire her, and the media say that she's persona non grata. Scarlett Johansson had no problem getting another gig 5 seconds later. It's not the same thing with Gina Carano, who basically became like, they turned her into like I don't know what word I'm looking for. Is it like a leper or whatever? I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say? They made her like,
Yeah. Yeah.
like a completely different situation here. And I'm even going to say this. Even though I personally right now want $7 million, if like the richest man in the world was like bankrolling this lawsuit, and I felt that like we had them where we wanted them, knowing all the information I know, and knowing that like now there's going to be discovery, even I may be convinced by lawyers to hold out for more than $7 million. Like, even now in my situation now, like a good lawyer could tell me, listen, I know you want the 7 million, but we got them in a way that they have to pay significantly more than that. So yeah, that's my impression. $7 million is real money, but this is not the kind of things that were on the line here. Imagine, especially like I think that Trump was already elected. Imagine with Disney trying to lower the flame of all of their like agenda peddling and all the stuff that they do. This thing exploding with the emails would have been like exact fodder. It also could have been a trial like those kind of Johnny Depp things. You never know what starts happening with the internet, what happens with the press. I would say that in that moment in time where they settled, they had a lot more to lose than her. A lot more to lose. And $7 million in the grand scheme of things, and I like what Professor says, that's like a half a day of what they collect in like, in park money. It's nothing. It's like a traffic ticket. It's nothing. It's absolute. It's like petty cash. It's petty cash for them. 7 million in this situation. But whatever. All we can do.
They spent 25 times that much on just a single episode of The Acolyte.
Isophobo says, I know all about her side of the situation, but I'm friends with the Disney accountants. She laughed at the idea of being over 10. She used to write the checks. Gina just wanted to listen. I respect you. I accept that that is your opinion and the opinion of the person you spoke with. Not my opinion. I am not convinced at all.
Okay.
The lady that you met is.
I don't think you're making stuff up, Isophobo. We take you at your word that the people that you've talked to and how you feel about it. And that's fine. Again, it's just an agree to disagree type of situation.
That's all I'm saying. I am not saying you didn't speak to people that work there. I'm not saying that their opinion isn't important. But I think that in the case of Gina Carano, I suspect that the person writing that check probably, this is at the top of the top, This is like very top upper level management situation, meaning I don't know, what everybody is privy to, even if they work at Disney. I don't think that they all are 100% privy to what happened with that. And just wanting her career back, just wanting her whatever. I mean, it's not like since then, all the doors of Hollywood have really opened for her. It's better now than it was then. She's not persona non grata. They had to do like a semi, backpedaling of the shit they said about her, which was fine. But I don't know. Like I said, we can agree to go look at the WDW Pro channel. They reported on it. Listen,
All right.
WDW Pro is a good guy. I appreciate what he does. And even though I respect his work and I respect him, I can also say that in some cases, and I didn't see his video, so I don't want to just say, I could also disagree with what he says, even though I respect him. So I disagree. I don't think that this is a $7 million situation. It doesn't add up to me personally, based on the situation they were in. Anyhow, what question?
It's not worth arguing. No, we're never going to know the real number.
Yeah, I mean, it's a confidential settlement for a reason. Yeah. What is how are you going to ignore his question? What question? What is he talking about?
Whether we stay on the plane or not? Is that what you're talking about? No, I'm getting off the plane. If the pilot is stupid enough to swallow his phone, I'm getting off the plane. Is that the question that you want?
I see. Anyhow,
I mean, honestly, that it depends on what phone it was. Is it like an iPhone, like 17 Pro Max or something? Because that's pretty impressive if you manage to swallow that. But
anyhow, like I said, this is a confidential settlement. WDW Pro and all of his best friends and everybody that knows all the insiders of the world can try to get a feel for what that thing is, but I don't believe that they know for sure. The same way that you could claim that I don't know for sure. So the best we can do now is just give our opinions, because that's really all we got. And they can report what they want. You can feel whatever you want, and I respect everybody, including you and them. My opinion is $7 million doesn't get this deal done. That's for me. And can we put Sydney Sweeney on the screen? We can do that shortly. Uh, anyhow, I don't know how we got into this whole thing here. How did we get here, Professor? Before
no
I
idea.
forget, let's just quickly go over this. What happened with Trump and Newsom? Wasn't there something that he wanted to stop giving him money for the fires because nothing has been done for relief of the fires? So he said that like the federal will give that directly and he won't be involved, Newsom. Was there something like that happening today or did I imagine it?
There wasn't anything that I saw.
I thought that, and then Newsom was trying to say that he'll sue him for something else. There was all this nonsense. Like it was a day that there was so much nonsense going on at the same time that like you try to kind of pick up on one thing and another thing happens.
Let's see. Newsom. I know they were going back and forth with Newsom having gone to that international conference with the World Economic Forum in Davos, and basically like trying to make it look like he was already the president, right? Like jockeying for position for running for president. Let's see.
Okay, so Sydney Sweeney, let me see for a second. She launched a line for lingerie, and she got in trouble because she went to the Hollywood sign and she was taking pictures of bras and her standing with bras next to the Hollywood sign. And I guess they said she didn't have a permit to walk around with bras next to the Hollywood sign. I think that probably California has other things to deal with now that are probably more important than that. I'm sure, I understand that they're upset that she walked around with a bra next to the Hollywood sign, but I feel like it's probably not the most important thing that I've ever heard. I guess now they're like, yeah, of course, Sal the Hamster said it was a PR stunt. Of course. And it's a good PR stunt because what are they going to do? What are they going to do? You went next to the sign with the bra. You're like with the, even if let's say they go through with it, they go like, they give her papers, they sue her, whatever it is, like, what are they going to do? Sit around in court and Sydney Sweeney is going to stand there and talk about walking around in a bra next to the Hollywood sign? It's absolutely ridiculous. Listen, you're saying, Tomahawk, that he's vying for 2028 and it's like a comedy gold. But the thing is that don't underestimate people. Like, don't underestimate people not really doing any research or knowing anything. The guy looks like a politician. Now, I personally think he's not a very good one, but most people that see him, or a lot of people that just don't know and are busy with their stuff and not taking interest, not like us here sitting around and dissecting these things, he could fool some people. Sometimes a guy kind of looks presidential or looks like, looks the part, and people, you just figure they're stupid and they won't know and they'll just vote. That's what they're hoping for. They're hoping for a few things, that things will upset enough people that they can sort of continue their thing of how bad, Orange Man is and all that. And then at that time, they'll just, parade Newsom around. They'll like, smile and wave at people. When you think of a campaign and just a guy, if they can keep him from saying a lot of stupid shit sorry, Sean, and maybe not talking a lot and just like parading him around from place to place, he looks the part enough. It's just that, we know that he's not fit, but never underestimate people. We had a situation that like Mamdani was elected in New York, like, and never underestimate what the people can do. Also, Caleb, be sent
Definitely not.
Large groups of stupid people or their ability to ruin elections. Yeah.
All right. So there's a little bit about him at Davos. A lot of it is he was there as it says, frolicking in Davos, attacking the president, urging foreign leaders to rally against him, when of course that is exactly the opposite of what happened. For the most part, Trump was extremely successful there, got a lot done. And of course, today, this is the story you're talking about here. President Trump stunned Gavin Newsom by signing an executive order for feds to take over the LA wildfire rebuild and permitting process. Newsom has failed. Trump is saving the people. This generational failure will be on the front stage in 2028 when Gavin tries to run for president against Vance. One of the worst governors in modern history. Yeah, absolutely pathetic. And yeah, I'm glad to hear this because what's been going on in California is a disgrace. It's been a year. It's been a year since those fires tore through all of those wealthy areas in LA and surrounding hills there. And there's been only a few dozen homes that have received permits for building, and in the single digits homes that have received permits to become like livable. Like you have to get permits to say everything's been checked out and this can now have someone living in it, right? In a year. I've seen buildings go up in 4 months. I've seen homes be built, nice homes, solid homes, built by good builders, go up in less than 6 months. It is absurd. As it says 7. Yeah, this is what I heard. The what I heard specifically was from someone in the county there saying that they wouldn't give the exact number, but it's in the single digits, closer to 10 than 0. So yeah, it might be 7. It sounds like a reasonable number. Yeah, it's like they've managed to rebuild almost nothing because of the massive amount of red tape, all of the insanity there on being able to, you got to have you got to meet these standards and that standards and all of these things. And Lasher, you are right. It doesn't matter. California would vote for Newsom again. They are insane.
Lasher 5520, it doesn't matter. California would vote for Newsom again. I've told you this before that, I was speaking to somebody who was more left leaning, and I said something about Newsom, and that person really, wasn't on board for it. Like there's a lot of people there that they vote for a certain party. There's a guy there, that's the guy. No matter what he does, they'll just say he's great. And some people can say, well, there's people when it comes to Trump that they're always okay with everything that he does. But to be fair, this is not a Trump and Newsom situation. Before Trump, whether he's there or not there, because I did business and things that had to do with California and Los Angeles, not, because that's happened to me before. I've seen things, that the way they're handled there, and I think that this man does not do a good job. It's not a matter of politics. I always say the same thing. If I just had a business that had nothing to do with politics, and I was like, let's put it this way: if I now did I have a business and I need to interview a few candidates, and like I said, he shows up, and let's say you even have other politicians, you have somebody like a JD Vance or whatever it is, showing up. Like, I think that JD Vance, it doesn't matter if I always agree with his thoughts or opinions or whatever it is, as sort of a executive manager, he seems like to me like a guy, based on the way he speaks and really addresses facts and things like that. I think that if you gave him a business to run, he'd probably at least be decent. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if he'd be the best, but I think that he would at least be decent. With Gavin Newsom, I would have no faith, nothing, no matter what the business is. I don't believe that this man can run any business. I say that not as I'm some petty, I'm not getting petty politically here. I just honestly don't think that he can do it well.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And there's so many issues in California that he leaves behind. But here, specifically speaking to what we were talking about here, President Trump addresses state and local failures to rebuild LA after wildfires. So here is exactly what was signed today: accelerating rebuilding in wildfire devastated Los Angeles. President Trump signed an executive order to cut through bureaucratic red tape and speed up reconstruction in Pacific Palisades and Eaton Canyon areas 1 year after devastating wildfires destroyed nearly 40,000 acres of homes and businesses. So the order directs the administrator of FEMA and the administrator of the SBA, Small Business Administration, to issue regulations to preempt state and local procedural permitting requirements and enable builders to self-certify to a federal agency designee that they have complied with state and local health, safety, and building standards. So instead of having to go through an absurd waiting period for these certain inspectors for a certain office to come during, this one time where they get there and they look through all sorts of stuff to certify it, then you got to wait for another one from a different agency to show up. They have to sign off and certify it, and it takes weeks, months to go through all this absurd red tape. They're saying, you know what? The builder can go in and they can say, yeah, we did this, we did that, we did this. This is how it was built. These are the materials we used, and it's certified. We met all the requirements. The order directs agencies to use all available authorities under federal environmental, historical preservation, natural resource laws, NEPA, Endangered Species Act, to expedite waivers, permits, and approvals that may be required based on all of those endangered species things. Trump really hates all those endangered species things, by the way. You know that, right?
Yeah. I think that after that fire thing happened, he's like, oh, you wanted to protect a bird and then you lost everything.
Yeah, we're going to protect these stupid fish, right? Instead of actually making sure we've got water in the right place to stop the fires. This last one is the one that I think really pisses Newsom off. FEMA is ordered to determine whether any of California's $3 billion in unspent hazard mitigation grant program funds were awarded arbitrarily or contrary to law, and to conduct a full audit of California's use of those funds. So yeah, going in and making sure that, yeah, you didn't just hand this out to, just anybody, did you? You made sure that this went to groups that were actually going to benefit and help the community, help the state to rebuild, right?
Yeah.
Despite billions in federal recovery awards and the fastest federal debris removal in American history, only about 2,500 of the tens of thousands of homes and businesses destroyed have received permits to rebuild. Now, a year after the fires, less than 10 have been rebuilt. Overly burdensome, confusing, and inconsistent permitting requirements, duplicative permitting reviews, procedural bottlenecks, and administrative delays have effectively stalled recovery efforts. Yeah.
I see. Yeah, it all, I understand.
Yeah.
So
even, yeah.
What were you going to say? Sorry, you go.
No. I was just reading this. Even expedited reviews promised by local leaders have taken months, with processing times averaging 93 days. So you go in and you take care of some permitting and stuff, and it takes you 3 months for them to get back to you. And then you have more steps to go through. It takes 3 months for them to finish that, right? It's pure insanity. Pure insanity.
Istafobos says the California legislature voted to audit the $20 billion in homeless money, and Newsom vetoed it. I would believe that. And,
of course he did. Because we know where it went.
Right. I mean,
it went to all sorts of little NGOs that put people, we saw that last week, right? We saw this, the one guy was running some little thing where there was millions and millions of dollars of funding that went into, what was it for? Was it for homeless people or whatever it was? I don't remember. But yeah, they found out that, all of this money that went in there, he basically pocketed it all, built himself a mansion, bought himself enormous amounts of, cars and all sorts of other stuff with all this money that was supposed to go in and actually help people. Just turned around and put it all in his pocket and walked off. Right. And he's not the only one, right? We know this is happening over and over and over again. We've seen examples of it now. And when you find 4 cases of this happening, there's another 400 of them out there that we haven't found yet. And it's, all of this stuff, it's got to end. It's disgusting. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I feel like nothing ever happens, but nothing. I don't know what'll happen.
They got that one guy.
Yeah.
I saw him repossessing his $125,000 car the other day.
Adam Carolla did a great rant about how this would happen with the permitting process right after the fires happened. I remember that.
Yeah.
He explained it immediately, but
Yeah.
what I think he was trying to say, that even some of these kind of like, people that are always like supporting Newsom, maybe some will turn against him. But I don't hear anybody even turn against him. Even all the people that don't have homes, they're like not saying anything.
Oh, I'm sure they're saying something, but they're being silenced. They're not being listened to. That's for damn sure. Right.
Yes.
The truth is, a lot of them are pissed. There's as I understand it, there's quite a few of them in the area that are pretty pissed off because not only did they are they not moving to get all these permits granted so they can rebuild, they made it basically impossible for them to sell their properties if they just want to pack up and leave. They've put all these rules on like who you can sell it to, who you can accept money from, who's allowed to buy those properties and stuff. So there's people coming in offering to buy properties and they can't sell them.
I'm sure it's a disaster if you were in that situation. Let's see for a second. I was trying to share something, but I guess it didn't work. Did it work now? The Real Head Case has been a member for 1 month, so welcome and thank you. And yeah, I guess we've been all over the place today, but let's try to focus.
Let's see.
What have we got on our docket? What's going on?
Let's see. Send help review.
Okay.
Starfleet Academy, Wonder Man.
Okay, let's start
Yeah.
with the Send Help review. Send Help is a movie that Sam Raimi did. It's a new Sam Raimi movie. Now, when
I
I
like Sam
saw
Raimi.
what'd you say?
I like Sam Raimi.
I like Sam Raimi too. He's generally like, I rate him. It's like most people are bad and they're stupid and I don't give them much respect, but like Sam Raimi is not a bum. So I was interested. The only thing is that when I saw how this movie looked on the poster, I was a bit concerned initially. Let me see if I can find it. It feels like the most poorly timed poster, which I almost feel like they started changing it. I at least in some places it feels like they've updated to a different poster, but let me see if I can find it. Uh let's see. I can't seem to find this poster that I want. I'll tell you in a second, and this is like in my own investigation. I almost feel like they tried to get rid of a poster. Like initially the marketing looked one way and now maybe they've changed it. I could be wrong on that. But let me show you what the poster looks like. Are you ready?
Okay.
So stop screen share. Let me see if I can find this thing. Let's see. Can you see it?
Uh-huh.
Now, the reason I'm showing you this, and let me try to make it so that we see it better. It has a woman standing there with a knife, and at the bottom it says, she's the boss now. And when I saw that, I'm like, what is this? What is this? And then, you kind of look into the marketing of it. It's a woman who works at an office. Like, when you quickly don't really pay attention much, it's a woman that works in an office and there's like a male boss who's like a douche. And, I thought to myself, is this one of those weird, like female empowerment type of things? Uh, I honestly think that perhaps, initially when this movie was developed, and I think they started talking about it 2019, we were much closer to that time of like the Me Too movement and all that stuff. So I tend to think that maybe whatever was happening in the world may have influenced an idea to make like a woman who's like, sort of pitted against her boss or whatever it is. I feel like maybe it was more topical for when they did it. And when I saw this poster, I'm like, man, I hope this isn't going to be one of those like, you go girl, girl boss type of movies. But I ended up going to see it, like an early screening of it, and I will say that I was pleasantly surprised by it. And the reason I was pleasantly surprised, what the idea of this movie is, uh, Caleb Levine said, Sam Raimi is not a bum, James Gunn's super bum. James Gunn, there's certain things that he can do. It's just that he's not good at everything. And with Sam Raimi, I consider him a good director. Tony Danza is still the boss. That is true. Technically, Angela was his boss, but we won't dwell on that now. No use in splitting hairs. In any case, this movie, Sam Raimi's movie, I went to see it. I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not going to ruin it. I'll just tell you what you see in the trailers and all that stuff. Basically, you have a woman who works, at an office, and initially there was like a president of a company that she works there that had promised her, like, a promotion to, VP of some kind of VP role, but he is, he passes away, and the person that takes over the company is like his kind of hotshot douchey son, and the second he arrives, he doesn't want to give her the promotion. uh a lot of it is because he thinks she's awkward and not, like, a good people person. And the truth is, and this is what I actually liked about the movie, is that very early in the movie, you actually see that she is very awkward. And like, as much as he's a douche, you could sort of understand why, if you were a manager and you saw this woman, you may not think she's fit for an upper executive role because she acts kind of weird. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Meaning, I guess what I'm trying to say is that if this was like a Disney movie, this woman would walk in, and the second she walks in, you'd hear all like the best music, and everybody would like be telling her how great she is. In this office, she has like, and this is the moment that I knew that the movie was more nuanced. In this office, she has like a few colleagues in cubicles next to her. One is like an Asian guy, one is a woman. Now, if this was a Disney movie, the Asian guy probably would be like fond of dudes. And he'd probably go up to her and say, "Oh, wow, you're the best," telling her like, "You go, girl, you get that promotion." And then there's like another lady there, and I'm sure the lady would tell her, "Yeah, you go, girlfriend, you get the promotion." Like, that's what the Disney movie would be, and there would be all this like annoying music in the background, and then like there would be like a record scratch where like the boss is a douche and won't give her the promotion. But in this case, she's in the office acting really kind of, she seems awkward and weird, and you kind of don't know what to think about her. And she's like trying to befriend these people that work with her, kind of like maybe we'll go out to karaoke, and they really seem like they're trying to ditch her, including the Asian guy and the lady. You know what I mean? Like, they don't seem keen about her either. Meaning, it doesn't look like she's very popular in the office. She seems like kind of like an outcast, strange kind of weirdo to begin with. And I think that by doing something like that, you feel on one hand that you understand why they don't embrace her, but at the same time, you can also understand her perspective, that the boss preferred some dude that went to the same fraternity as him, that he kind of inherited this company as kind of a douche. You feel like her perspective, but you can also understand the other perspective. And I thought that once I saw that nuanced thing being done, not to mention that Sam Raimi, he knows how to tell a story. I always say this, that, the fact that somebody does a movie about a certain subject matter, it doesn't matter that it doesn't mean it can't be a good movie if good people are involved making it. Like Squid Games, I always give this example. Supposedly pro-commie, anti-West, anti-capitalism. Enjoyed the first season of it. It could be all of those things, and I still enjoyed it. So it's still possible for somebody to have an underlying agenda, or whatever it is, but still create like a good movie with a good story. I think that in this case,
Sure.
there's enough of a balance here. And what really happens, the inciting incident of the movie is, they all go on a trip to Thailand to try to like close some big business deal. And even though he doesn't really like her, and he's probably not going to give her that promotion for various reasons that even seem selfish, he's like, "Well, you can come with us on the trip and prove what you're worth." Meaning, maybe she does well here, maybe he'll give her the promotion, even though you don't really feel that he will give her that promotion, But it doesn't matter. They're on the plane, and they're, something bad happens, and it ends up that her and her boss are on an island. Okay, like on a deserted island. So now it becomes like a
Yeah.
survival type of story. Now, they also establish early on that part of her weird, quirky thing is that she likes to sit at home and she watches like reality shows like Survivor all day, and that's like the biggest interest she has. So once they arrive on this island, she like knows every stupid thing you need to do, how to like create water from the coconuts and all this like weird shit. Whereas like the boss, like the douchey boss guy, like doesn't know any of this. So it starts to be a situation where like he needs her knowledge, but at the same time he's like the douchey executive guy, and it creates a sort of absurd and funny situation. Like I genuinely sat there in the theater and I felt that there was this kind of feeling that people were having fun watching an escapist movie, even with this subject matter. There were things going on there. It was a mix. It was like comedy. It was a thriller. It was survival, a little bit of horror, a little bit of gore, but all done with this kind of like tongue-in-cheek humor. Like in my opinion, like it was really Raimi showing again that when left to his own devices, when you don't have studio meddling in his projects like Kevin Feige with Multiverse of Madness, when you give him a fair chance to do his thing, and I think this wasn't even a high budget movie, Raimi can deliver a well made movie. And that's what I felt about it.
Nice. Yeah, I've been a fan of Raimi's for a long time. I've enjoyed a lot of the stuff he's made. I was incredibly disappointed by the Multitude of Madness, or whatever that stupid Multiverse of Madness film, because it was clear that he wanted to do something there. He had an idea. He wanted to bring in his idea of what he wanted to create, and they came in and basically just ruined the film.
Well,
It was such a mess.
you know, I think that there were. Oh, sorry. Go on.
No, you could just tell that that it was not the movie that he wanted to make.
Not only that, I think that there were a lot of red flags with that entire production. Because what happened with Multiverse of Madness is that first of all, you had that guy that made the first one, and he bailed. He didn't want to do the second one. I tend to think, and I could be wrong, I didn't understand it then. I'm like, why don't you want to do a sequel to this big MCU movie you made? Why don't you want to do the next one? Like, why not? And I think that the reason he didn't want to do it is it's enough that he had to sit through meetings with Feige, where Feige was launching Disney Plus, and he had Wanda and WandaVision, and he kept on changing what he wanted in the movie. Effectively, you know, from what I understand, and this is something that Bruce Campbell, that's the most information we got, that Bruce Campbell, who we know is a good friend of Raimi's, said in an interview, let it slip something like that, you know, Raimi filmed 80% of that movie, and somebody walked in and said, nope, now we're doing a new movie. And they basically made him start from scratch, ignoring a movie he already filmed 80% of. Now, I know that he's like a skilled guy and he's a veteran and all that stuff, but I don't care if you're the most seasoned veteran or if you're like, you know, just an amateur. Imagine you working like, you know, an entire year or something on a movie, and somebody's just like, nope, we have Disney Plus. Can you make it about Wanda? Oh, we need like America Chavez. Can you put America Chavez in it? Can you do this? Can you make him an idiot? Can you make it so that he's an idiot throughout the movie? Like even though he's supposed to be the main character. If I were in the shoes, you know, and it's beyond money. If I really care about my craft and I sit there and I've put like, you know, it's my whole energy and vibe and whatever. And Raimi, like I said, he's not a bum. He's a guy with credentials, worked like a whole year on it. And now they just came and like destroyed his movie. I would be really, really depressed. And I think that the reason why the only person that said something was Bruce Campbell is because, you know, Raimi's a professional. He decided, you know, he's not going to go out and start fighting with people. He did the press for that movie. He smiled to the cameras and nodded with his head. I highly doubt that, like, you know, in years to come or something, if like you sit with Raimi and ask him to say like his greatest movies, I highly doubt that he himself will say, "Oh, so proud of the work I did with Multiverse of Madness." I can't imagine that he would be.
Oh yeah, why would you even mention it? I can't imagine he's proud of that. Yeah. Uh you
Multitude of
wrong on
sadness.
yeah. On the Rumble chat says what happened with Multiverse is the writers' room was politicized. Well, that would be the case with a lot of what was being output by Marvel at that time. All of those films had heavily politicized activists filling up the writers' rooms. And again, it was also Kevin Feige, just like KK. Kevin Feige was walking in on productions and saying, no, you're going to do it my way. Yes, we hired this incredibly talented director with a vision for whatever, but no, we don't care about your vision. You're our employee and you're going to do it. You know, they did not hire directors. They cast people who would put their vision on screen. when they made the movie.
He was such a poor fit for that because Raimi is not the guy like that. He has actual ideas. You don't need to,
He does.
you don't need
He
to
has
ruin
ideas.
his movie.
He has a style that
Yeah.
that he likes to use for his films. You saw it come out very heavily when he was producing the Spider-Man films that he did for Fox. And the second film had a lot of those little Raimi-isms in it. And it was a great film. Still to this day, that second Spider-Man film was one of the best superhero movies ever made.
I agree with
It's
you.
a great story. It's shot amazingly. The acting is great. It's just a stellar film all the way around.
Still holds up till this day, and I'll tell you something. I thought that the first Spider-Man he did was also good. It's only the
Yeah, it
third
was.
one. Sorry, go on.
Yes, it was. The first one was also very good. Just the second one just turned everything up to 11. The actors knew the roles, the characters they were playing. That he was a little bit freer with some of his, the artistic way he was using the camera, and adding in some of his little Raimi-isms with some of the creepy scenes, like with the Doc Ock's tentacles attacking the doctors and stuff. That was right out of Evil Dead, right? He got a little bit freer, got a little bit more, had a little bit more fun with it, and the movie was all the better for it. Yeah.
The only criticism I can say there is that he had what was I going to say? The third movie there, you could tell that they meddled with his production, Sony or whatever that was.
Yeah.
They wanted all those villains and all that stuff happening there, and it's really a shame because I feel like you have a guy that just delivered two of the greatest superhero movies ever, where the second one, like you said, it holds up until today as like almost like a gold standard for what a superhero movie could be. And the reaction to that it would be like executives meddling in his picture and telling him what to do is really bizarre. And it just goes to show you that how sometimes these Hollywood studios, they just can't get out of their own way when it comes to their greed and their poor decision making. All we needed was just let him make the movie he wants for the third one. And if you want to do something else later, you can, get rid of him or whatever it is. Also, the fact that there was supposed to be a fourth one with Maguire and him, and that one ended up being canceled. I would have liked to have seen what he had. I wanted to see a fourth movie and hope that they would just let him make it the way he wanted to make it. But we never got any of that. I gladly would have watched another Spider-Man Raimi movie.
I would too.
I understand that some people like Tom Holland and they like his movies or whatever it is. And Andrew Garfield, I will argue that those Maguire movies are better than the Garfield movies and better than the Holland movies.
I like Garfield just fine. I thought the scripts were pretty awful.
Very weak.
The movies did not work well.
Yep, very weak. I tend to agree with you. Anyhow, I wanted to show the trailer. Maybe this will show what it is better than me talking about it. I gave a little bit of information, but this will give the vibe of it, and then people can decide. I thought it was a good movie. I see a lot of bad movies. I've seen a lot of underwhelming and bad movies. This was a movie that I thought was well crafted, well made. It also had Danny Elfman doing the score. It had Bill Pope doing the cinematography. It felt like this was a professional team of people making a movie and bringing a lot of care and enthusiasm to the way they were making it. And it had a vision. And whether you like the subject matter, don't like, there's a lot of things you could say, but I felt like this was a movie that was meant to entertain at the end of the day. And I sat in the theater and found myself enjoying it. And if you can do that, I'm cool with that. Can you see the thing?
Yes.
I'm going to be frank with you. You are smart. I know that you are great with numbers, but I just don't think you got it. As an executive, I see no value in you. Does that make sense?
I'm sorry, what?
We have the Bangkok merger coming up. Prove me wrong. Oh, Linda, before you go, forgot to mention I've received a few complaints about you.
Complaints?
Noxious odors.
Oh, God.
Take your seats. You're a little bitch.
The coast joined the land of the living.
How long?
You been out? Day and a half?
Have you tried making a distress signal? Or a bigger fire?
I was busy trying to keep us alive.
But getting us out of here, that should be your focus, not being Susie Homemaker over here.
What did you just say to me?
Let's not forget, I'm your boss. You work for me.
We're not in the office anymore, Bradley. No help is coming. You just have to accept that this is how things are now. You ever hunt? I think I like it. You are stuck with an asshole boss. Just like I was. Although I'm betting I am a much nicer boss than you ever would have been. Except for maybe this part. I don't think we should ever leave.
So yeah, I enjoyed the movie. Don't know what to say.
Yeah. Some people in the chat say, girl boss, another girl boss
I understand.
movie.
I understand
Yeah.
that everything is true what you're saying, and that's how I felt prior to me watching the movie. I watched the movie. I enjoyed the movie. You can say whatever you want, and I also explained that the part that like in the commercial doesn't really highlight it. In The Office, you could tell that she's weird and awkward. She dresses not kind of appealing. She's not like this kind of let me put it this way. If in this movie, like the character that she plays would have dressed the way Rachel McAdams looks in person and really like well put together, and she's like the life of the party and everybody's her friends, you wouldn't have understood why she's not getting that promotion. But when you see her looking kind of like awkward and weird and really kind of not, looking almost like this kind of weirdo, you kind of understand. And also, what this trailer doesn't really explain is there's one day that she has like a tuna fish sandwich and she like puts it in her drawer, and like that's why I guess he was saying that people are complaining about the odor and weird things like that. It's not really explained well in the trailer here, but I guess what I'm saying is you don't exactly look at her and thinking that she's like presenting herself in the best possible way. You know what I mean? Like as much as he's a douche, if you're the boss there and you have a lady who is obviously a bit, weird, I don't know if to say spectrum or what you want to call her, you may not think that she's right for management material. Now, obviously, this guy is presented like somewhat of a douche in the way he explains it, but it doesn't mean that what he's saying is wrong. If you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think that's why is it being advertised as a horror film in 2007 would have been a drama. It is a complex thing. It's a movie that, in my opinion, the first act of it, you feel like you could watch. It reminds you kind of Office Space or something, in a way. At least some moments of it. Then you have like a part of it that kind of reminds you of like a Castaway type of movie. Then you have like
Yeah.
you could call it of like one of those rom-coms where they're stranded on an island. There have been some of those, and you could throw in like Misery and a bit of like Lord of the Flies. There's just a little bit
Yep.
of elements from a lot of
That
different
was,
things.
I think it was. I think Raimi in an interview described the movie as Misery meets Castaway. That was actually how he described it. So
You know what? And I think that is an interesting way to put it. I will say, like, it's not that you watch it and you think, oh, like this. What I think is interesting is I don't know that you especially like necessarily. I don't know if you necessarily like either of these characters. They're both flawed characters and complicated, flawed characters. And I think that throughout this movie, to just see this whole thing like unfold is kind of interesting, and there's fun to be had here. I don't know. I think there were moments that people in the audience were laughing, even stuff that's like suddenly gory and weird. Raimi just knows how to do that. That he does something that like it's almost like his own style. It's just it's not exactly like any of the movies I mentioned, nor is it exactly like another movie that I've seen 100%. It's very much like Raimi and his style. And that's what I liked. I liked seeing a movie that I could tell that there was a steady hand of a real person with vision that made it. And I'm telling you that I had fun watching it. So that's
Great.
how I feel about all that stuff. And now that was that. So we got
Yeah.
that off our docket. What's the
Do
next
you have
thing we
a
have?
Do you have a review out for that, Price?
I do have a review, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I'll have to check it out.
I put it on this channel on Price of Reason Live. That's where I put the review.
Oh, okay.
So
All right.
yeah, it's here. I put it up and like 3 people have already watched it. So you're welcome to do that as well. The thing
Yeah,
is that
it didn't notify me that was out there, so I'll have to find it.
I mean, the thing is that some of these smaller movies, because I don't know if this is going to be something that people are going to watch. I personally think in a different era, maybe in a different time, and maybe with different marketing, I think this movie could be a hit. But in our day and age, I really don't even know, and I didn't see a lot of great marketing for it. I like to look out for early screenings. I like to look out, like, I like Sam Raimi. I don't know if most people even know what's going on or will bother watching it. I think this is a good movie. With the right word of mouth, people I think could actually like it, but I don't know what'll happen. I put the review on this channel on Price of Reason Live because on this channel I put like smaller movies, indie movies, sometimes early screenings. I put stuff like that here, and yeah, I put it up and people can watch it. So this review is here if anybody's interested. Then let's see. Istophobos says definitely got the Misery vibe. It absolutely does, but it's also not like a ripoff of Misery. That's what I like about it. It's not exactly any of those things. I actually found myself just, like I said, I wasn't thinking. I was just enjoying sitting and watching the movie. I also couldn't tell you 100% where it would unfold. There's a lot of things rapidly happening, and like I want to say, like twists and turns or whatever it is. I was happy with the movie. The only comment that I had, and I said that in my review, that I think that like the very ending of the movie, and I don't think this is a spoiler. There's some kind of time jump to show some kind of outcome of something. And when I saw the time jump, I thought to myself, because there's a time jump, you kind of are kept from asking some very important questions. You'll never get an answer to those questions because there's a time jump and then the movie ends. So if you had some questions about certain things, those questions are not going to be answered. And in a way, on a writing level, you could say, well, that kind of, is an easy way to resolve something because, you just did a time jump. But at the same time, when you provide a movie that's entertaining and interesting and well crafted and well made for a few hours, and at the end you use some kind of like, I don't know what to say, a tool to end the movie in a way that you did, maybe you earned it. You know what I mean? Maybe even if I have questions about it, maybe it's earned, I guess.
Yeah.
Did you like Drag Me to Hell? I didn't. I actually didn't see that. Professor, did you see that?
No.
I've
No,
never
I did
seen
not
that.
see Drag Me to Hell.
Evil Dead, yes. Spider-Man movies, obviously. Darkman, yes.
Mhm.
There was also that movie that he. I think that there was a movie that he did together with the Coen brothers, or he co-wrote with them, the Hudsucker Proxy. I think that he's involved in that one.
Yeah, saw that.
Saw that one. Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, I like him. I'm sure that there's movies that he has that I haven't watched. Unfortunately, I probably should make an effort sometime to watch them. But there's movies that I absolutely like, and he is that kind of rare director that has a certain vision and style. Like you said, Professor, he has
Yes.
his own style. It's not, you know, it's not that kind of corporate thing that they just cough up now. It's like he's still a
Yeah.
guy that brings some kind of, interesting, like I said, vision to the whole situation.
Yeah, and well, and that's I am the person who you don't ask about. I just don't care about horror. I don't watch horror films. I don't care about horror films. I find most of them just either stupid or just too gory and or torture porn stuff. I don't want to watch any of that. I'm just not interested in that. That doesn't entertain me in any way. But Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 are so much fun, right? they're not just like a straight up horror movie. There's so much style to it. There's all the tongue in cheek humor and all the everything that's part of those. There's a reason those films have become like these cult classic films. And of course, the third one, Army of Darkness, incredibly funny horror comedy. Just an absolute classic. Yeah, I mean that's where I was first. I first got to see Sam Raimi's stuff. I actually saw Army of Darkness first, thought it was absolutely hilarious, and then saw the original Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2, which is, of course, Evil Dead 2 is kind of a remake, but it's got a little. There's more of the slapstick humor. There's more of the silliness thrown in there. And it's definitely, it's got higher production values. But then later on, things like Darkman, loved Darkman. Didn't love the sequels so much, but I did love the original.
I don't think he made the sequels, though.
Yeah, I don't think he was really involved. He might have been producing on the sequels, but yeah, he didn't make those.
For me, Darkman 1, that's Darkman. The other ones I never really...
Exactly.
I consider them nothing, pretty much, the other ones.
I was looking here. A Simple Plan. I think that might be the one you were thinking of. Isn't that a Coen Brothers collaboration?
A Simple Plan. Let me see for a second. I thought it was. Wait a second. Let's see. No, that is. I'm talking about. I think the Hudsucker Proxy. I don't know why.
Oh, okay. Hudsucker Proxy. Yeah. Okay. It just wasn't on the list here that I was looking at. Yeah, Hudsucker.
I think that he co-wrote it with them.
Okay. Yeah.
Which, just so you know, like the Coen Brothers, they're not like big on like involving other people in their writing.
Not usually, no.
Right. So the fact that like Raimi like is a guy that they feel comfortable even like working with, says something good about Raimi, in my opinion.
Yeah. Karate Werewolf in the chat mentions Bruce Campbell being awesome. He's so much fun.
Totally.
He's great. He's sadly kind of, he's been more of a kitsch, actor. Kind of they bring him in for silly roles and stuff. But he really is a fun actor. I've always enjoyed him in everything I've ever seen him in. And even oh gosh, I just forgot the name of the movie. Oh, Bubba Hotep, which was a classic, hilarious film where you get to see Bruce Campbell. Bruce Campbell plays the king. You're led to believe that he is actually Elvis Presley, but he's old and living in a retirement home because they faked his death. And so he's old living in a retirement home now. But then there's an evil Egyptian curse that's unleashed on the retirement home that he lives in, and he has to fight a mummy that's haunting and attacking the people in the nursing home. It is a hilariously weird film. So funny. And it's kind of one of those cult classic films. It never got huge success, but it's very, very funny and a great Bruce Campbell role. Because again, it's hinted at that maybe he's just crazy, that he thinks he's the king. Maybe he was an Elvis impersonator, or maybe he really is Elvis. Like it's never really like settled.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds
pretty
fun.
funny.
I've never watched that, but what I was thinking while you were talking is that I've always felt that Bruce Campbell walked so that Jim Carrey could run. He was kind of like an early version of a guy, and that's why I always think that maybe people definitely respect and appreciate Jim Carrey and more over the years, for his talent. And I think that maybe sometimes Bruce Campbell doesn't get the recognition that he deserves. I think that he is a genuinely, skilled actor. And like you said, they roll him out for these kind of like silly things, but I think he could do more than what they present him as. But that's just my opinion. It's fine. He's had a long career, and he's been working, so it's totally fine.
Yes, and Read by Nature mentions the co-lead. The co-lead in the film is Ozzie Davis. very accomplished black actor who believes he's JFK. that he faked his death and they changed the color of his skin to hide him.
Now, I want to ask you a question because I'll tell you the truth. I really wanted to watch Wonder Man, and I put it on, but I didn't sleep well at night, and I was on my couch and I put on Wonder Man. Wonder Man. I feel like in the last few minutes of maybe the first episode, I think I dozed off, and then it started playing the next episode, and then I'm watching like part of the next episode, and I kind of lost what was ever going. I understood the general direction at least initially. Did you happen to catch any of it?
I have not gotten to watch any of it yet. I've been far too busy, as like I've said before. Like Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm in class all day long and stuff. So, given that it came out last night, I really haven't had
Oh, it
any
came out tonight.
opportunity to. Oh yeah, it came out earlier today. I thought it came out like late last night, but yeah,
No,
I haven't gotten to see in any of it. I probably will try and watch some of it. I'm not sure I'll watch the whole thing. It doesn't honestly sound like anything I care about, much less, I mean, it's connected to the MCU, which is dead anyway. So it sounds like it's a superhero TV show without superheroes in it, is what I've been told.
Yeah,
It's got a guy in it who's a superhero, but he has to hide the fact that he's a superhero the whole time. And then there's like a bromance with him and Trevor. They bring Trevor back again.
It's really, I mean, listen, let me put it this way. I watched, because I'm looking now, I did see the first episode in its entirety. I will say that the first episode, a few things can be true. One, if I compare it to, let's say, to like Ironheart, it's not as bad as Ironheart. If I compare it to like the first episode of Echo, it's not as bad as Echo. One of the reasons is it doesn't really do much of anything, so it's not like offensively bad like any of those things. At the same time, I watched this first episode, and it's also not like I was extremely excited about it either. It's just kind of there. What starts off is that you have an actor who this guy, I don't remember the character's name. What was it? Simon. He's an actor, and basically it starts off that you see him as a kid and he's watching a superhero on screen called Wonder Man. Interestingly, I think that the actor that he's watching, I think from what I can tell briefly, is white, so it's interesting that later they're like redoing it, and he sees Ben Kingsley at a movie theater, and he recognizes him as Trevor whatever. And I don't know the last name, but Trevor whatever sounds good to me. So
that sounds great to me. Yeah, just Trevor whatever. He can be that for the rest of.
That's it. That's his name moving forward. So
Trevor forever. Trevor forever. Trevor whoever, whatever.
So he sees him in a movie theater. Okay, first of all, it starts off that I think he has a role in some movie. This part I mildly didn't hate, that he goes to the set and he has like the most minor of roles, that I think he's just supposed to be in a scene like to play some professor that dies after like 3 minutes or something. And he starts going to the people on the set, the people like the PAs and the people with the script, and he's like, listen, we really need a backstory. What's this character doing? How does she know him? How does this? How does that? And he's kind of like, that part gave a feeling that I will say that gave I didn't mind that scene, that the people around him are thinking to themselves, you're just like, you have a small bit part here, just shut up. And he's like trying to make it all like artsy and like bothering the crew. There was something about that scene that I didn't completely hate. I don't know why. Didn't hate that scene. But maybe because it like rang true, because I've met people like that. So it kind of, I've met people like that, and then this kind of like, this woman that looks like she would be a PA. I don't want to say anything negative, but she looks like the type of woman who would be on this production in the role that she's at. The whole thing is at least mildly amusing for like 30 seconds. But the bottom line is after he annoys them so much, the showrunner just decides on the fly that they're cutting out that scene. They're like, they see him, he's like, let's do this, let's do that. And he's all kind of like almost OCD about it. And then like one of the PA people come up to him and say, listen, the producer says we're just cutting this scene. Thank you for coming in here and doing such great work today. And like, he wasn't filmed even for one frame. So he goes home. He like shows up at home. His girlfriend is like leaving him because she thinks he's like annoying or I don't know what. And he goes to the movie theater to watch something. I don't know if he's watching maybe a movie with John Voight and Dustin Hoffman. I was surprised that they were showing that movie, that he was watching it, because between John Voight, who's more like, right wing, and Dustin Hoffman, who was canceled,
Who's been canceled, yeah.
I was really surprised that the guy was like watching what is it called? Midnight Cowboy. I don't remember
Midnight
the name
Cowboy.
of it. Yeah, so they're watching that thing, and as he's sitting watching it, Ben Kingsley with his Trevor whatever is there, and he sees him, and then like he's like, "Oh, you're Trevor," and he's like all snooty, but somehow they go outside, and Ben Kingsley drops this kind of information that he's going to go do this audition, and like he kind of gets the information out of him that there's Wonder Man. So the guy goes to his agent and he's like, "Oh, Wonder Man, I want to be part of this reboot. Like I have to do it." And I guess they didn't pitch him for it. So he sort of cleverly maneuvers a situation where he goes and auditions for this thing. And as he's there, he has to fill out a form and like promise that he's not like a superhero. And it's kind of a weird moment, even though it's not really explained. And at the end, he does the scene, he does whatever. And I'm trying to think for a second. Let me see. So basically he meets okay, now I remember. He meets Ben Kingsley there, and Ben Kingsley see that he's kind of doing all his OCD stuff. So he takes him like, aside to talk to him, and he's like, "Listen, stop worrying about all this crap. Just go in there and do like, something very very like, natural. Stop overthinking this." And then I guess like he takes his advice. He goes in, delivers a really good audition finally, because he's not worried about all his OCD stuff. And I think that at the end, what happens is that it seems like him and Ben Kingsley are developing like a friendship. But then like I think Ben Kingsley gets a call that some either government agency or somebody is talking to him and is saying like, "Listen, this guy is a threat to national security, and don't you forget it." And says something like, we have to make sure that nobody rests until we take this guy into custody or whatever it is, and the episode ends. Now, again, is this a show that I really needed? Does this somehow contribute much to the MCU or anything at all? Does anybody care? Not really. But if you ask me, I still think like Ironheart wasn't dumped in 1 week. I think they chose a number of weeks to release like 2 episodes each week or something. And they didn't do that with all of Wonder Man. I think they dumped it in 1 day. They dumped it today at 9 p.m.
It's all out there. Yeah, the whole thing.
They dumped the whole thing out there. I don't know that if they would have showed it on a weekly basis, it would have caused any traction. But unless I haven't seen the other ones, judging by the first episode, it's not like enough fodder. Do you get what I'm saying? It's not the type of thing. Like when I saw Echo, I knew that was funny. When I saw Ironheart, I knew that was funny. When I saw like Wonder Man, I didn't think it was funny. I just thought it was kind of there. It's like it's something that nobody cares about. Probably won't help anybody. It won't contribute anything to anyone. Is it the worst though out of all this MCU stuff? Probably not. It's probably not the worst. It's not particularly good, but it's not like offensive. It's not one of those things that you're watching and you can't believe the crazy like how bad it is. It's not like Acolyte bad or Ironheart bad. You get what I mean?
Yeah, I think here is just a case of I think they knew that there was not going to be a big audience for this. I think they knew that they were not going to get people coming back week to week, even if it wasn't a bad show, that it wasn't something that was going to keep growing its audience or even maintain its audience on a week to week basis if they stretched it out. I think what they thought their best opportunity here was to dump it all at once and get some massive watch hours so they could say, "Oh, look, it's the #1 show on Disney Plus. It's the #1 show on streaming this week," or whatever, because they'll get a ton of watch hours all front loaded, everyone watching all the episodes and binging them over the next, 3-4 days. And that's the best they're really hoping to get out of it. I think they know that it's something that most MCU fans and most people are not going to care about, coming to see it week after week.
Yeah. Uh, I guess that's what they did. They just know, like you said, maybe they can dump it all in one day. A few people will watch it. They'll say it's on some list somewhere. It's a show that really probably was made like in their greediest, moment of them just greenlighting all these Disney Plus shows. I feel like they've had it for a while. The other thing is, to be fair, I've only watched one episode. Maybe you keep watching it and it becomes more and more like agenda driven and stupid. I don't really know. Judging just by the first episode, like I said, wasn't offensively bad. I found myself like really in the last minute just dozing off. Probably not a good sign. Now, was I a bit tired when I put it on? Sure, but I think that if I loved it, I probably wouldn't have dozed off. From my experience, if I'm watching something and I doze off, most of the time it's because that thing is not really, it's not making a case for me to give it my attention.
Yeah.
So just it's just a very kind of generic and silly thing, but like I'm not even silly. I don't even know what to say about it. But I'll watch more of it. Maybe it either becomes funny or bad or hilariously bad. I don't know. If anybody watched it, I don't know if anybody in the chat watched it. But the Pendragon cycle is out. It's surprisingly good so far. What is that?
Oh, that's based off of a book series. It's being the series is being done. The book series is not. The book series is already done, or at least a lot of it's been written. The show is being made by Angel
Okay.
Studios.
Yes. I remember. I saw the commercials. It's already out.
I think some of it is. I don't know that the whole thing is out yet.
Oh, I'm surprised they didn't. Sometimes there have been cases in the past where Angel Studios actually sends me a link to like screenings of stuff, but didn't send me for this one, which is fine. I'm not like nobody owes this to me.
Yes, Fobo says the first 2 episodes
I see.
are available.
I see. All right. Well, I'll definitely take a look at it. It looked good in the trailer. I don't underestimate what Angel does. I think that I like their business model. I like I like that they try to do things with their own. They listen to their investors. They listen to the people that want to see their movies. They collect money from people that want to see them the movie that they're making. I really like their business model. I've said it for a long time that I think a lot of bigger studios would be wise to adopt some of these ideas of actually, whether just even listening to your audience or listening, trying to get a feel for what audiences want and not necessarily you lecturing to them. I don't mind. I mean, I'm sure they do test screenings and pretend that's listening to their audiences, but that's not what I mean. With like Angel has like some projects. They'll propose it to people that do these kind of crowdfunding, and they're like, "Do you like this story? They like that. What interests you out of all this?" And then they see maybe a little teaser for something like, "Oh, this looks like an interesting story." So they start like raising money for it, and then they make that movie. It's not the worst thing, You're getting people to say this kind of interests me. I want to see this. It's it's not bad. Oh, not Angel, Daily Wire? Maybe that's okay. That's why I didn't get the invite. I see. I do believe that if it was Angel, they would have sent me like an invite to watch it.
It's Daily Wire. Okay.
It's fine. Yeah, I mean, I will definitely take a look at it. I'm sure it'll be interesting. Tim Hayes says Daily Wire is out of money. I don't really know. I'm not, privy to their finances. Unfortunately, I'm not privy to any. This is the second time I'm saying it. I mean, there's stuff that I'm not privy to, and I guess their finances is one of them. Istophobos says it's good. I'll pay attention to it. The reason why I wrote about Starfleet Academy is not because we're reviewing it. It's just that there was a very strange thing that went on today. First of all, John from Fandom Pulse tweeted something that he heard from insiders that Starfleet Academy was effectively canceled. The thing is,
he did a stream on YouTube talking about it as well. Basically giving credit to your favorite Star Trek YouTuber, Price.
Is it Tachyon Pulse?
Tachyon Pulse,
Oh,
saying
fuck.
that he had insider knowledge that he had shared with John earlier, like over the weekend, but told him he was not allowed to share it until after he had done his scoop video on it. And so then John, after he had done his scoop video, John Delarose was talking about it. So their claim is that the reception for Starfleet Academy has been so dreadful that there was an offer on the table to extend the deal with Kurtzman for Star Trek. And that after these first 3 episodes, the reaction they've had, the viewership, everything, that deal has now been rescinded, and that the second season of Starfleet Academy is effectively canceled. So I don't know if you heard anything else or read anything else.
You know, I always struggle with this because, you know, people like a Mike Zero or like a, you know, a Tachyon Pulse, they're allowed to do what they do. They can sit around and say that there's this top secret meeting that, you know, just now somebody got out and called Tachyon Pulse and gave him all the information. It's just like, you know, judging by the history of his videos, he seems to have a person in every important meeting walk out and call him and give him like the biggest scoops in the world, most of them which never really, as far as I can tell, never really materialize into anything. You know, I kind of struggle to remember one thing that Tachyon Paul said that ended up being like some big thing. Even here, and I'll tell you why this whole thing for me, when I saw even John Delarose printed, I didn't even know, you know, I saw something that he was posting online, didn't even know that he was talking about Tachyon Pulse. But what I'll say is that the tweet was kind of like a weird kind of Captain Obvious type of situation. I think that everybody or most people by now have seemed to have the impression that in advance Kurtzman was greenlit to film enough episodes for 2 seasons, meaning rain or shine. I think this thing has 2 seasons, unless they just decide that they don't even want to show any more episodes. But I don't necessarily think that's going to happen. He has 2 seasons, like he had with Discovery, like he had with Strange New Worlds, like without any of the crap, Picard, whatever, anything. He has his seasons. They'll probably air them. I think that he has 2 seasons. I think he was always going to have 2 seasons, and maybe he in advance filmed for 2 seasons. So it is what it is.
That's the understanding, is that actually the second season is already shot. It's
Right.
already been filmed, and the rumor is also that all of the sets have been torn down. So because the studios where they were made, you know, where the show was made, they've built other sets and they're being used to film other shows now.
I'm sure.
So that is what has sort of leaked out from various different sources, is that yes, there was a second season shot. It's an abbreviated season. It was rushed into production. It was forced in production as quickly as possible because Kurtzman only had so many days, so much time to get his stuff finished shooting. Same happened with finishing up the last season of Strange New Worlds, right? They had to rush it in and push these episodes, get them done as quickly as they could, because it all had to happen by a certain date when all of the productions that he had put into place under his deal had to be finished and wrapped up, unless he got an extended deal. And so without the extended deal, everything had to be done. And so, yeah, there's an abbreviated second season of this show. There's an abbreviated final season of Strange New Worlds. Is it possible that they just say, wow, this was a disaster, we're not even going to bother airing the second half, the second season of whatever, we're just going to take a loss on it? Yeah, that's possible. I think it is. Is it the most likely scenario? Probably not. They'll probably finish it up and they'll air it and whatever.
Anti-derivative Jill is answering you. She said, no reshoots make sense, but I think we will be shown what they have for season 2. And yeah, that's exactly what you said. And by the way, great to see you here, Jill. Jill's going to be joining us as we watch The Cage, Star Trek The Cage, the original pilot. We're going to watch that on Thursday. So just so you know, and
cool.
If it appears that she's going to join us, hopefully. You're welcome to join us as well, Professor. I just don't know what your schedule is like that day, and I know
Yeah,
it's
we'll have
tough.
to see on that one. Yeah.
Right, I know, like, it's a tough, day for you. But, what I wanted to say is that this guy is like, "Oh, there was a secret meeting, and they came to the conclusion that Starfleet Academy isn't good." It's like, you don't need a secret meeting for that, bro. Like, I don't need anybody to call me, like, from some, like, secured line, hide in the meeting and run out and, like, to give me like top secret information. Like, I don't need a mole in the company to tell me that. And that's why his scoops are usually like, like I said, they're like Captain Obvious scoops, meaning like they're like, oh, like after that is effectively done. It's obvious that right
Yeah.
now Ellison is doing a lot of different things with Paramount. I think that I find it hard to believe that they think that Kurtzman is a big success. After all of this stuff was like spreading online, you had them themselves saying that like Star Trek is doing great for them, but releasing no numbers. And any kind of documentation that exists show that Landman is doing well for them in streaming. Nobody seems to think that this thing is doing well in streaming. They went and did you see they made some announcements? They're like, it's doing great based on nothing. They're just saying like it's doing great
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
to shut people up. I would be surprised if after all of this, they'll want more of this show. Meaning, I do you get what I mean? Like saying, "Oh, they canceled this show," is the most Captain Obvious scoop in the world. And most of his
Yeah.
scoops are like that. I don't want to throw him under the bus. It's fine. I've seen people do a lot, I don't know if to say worse. Like I've seen people, I have channels that like, at least that one, I can believe that it's going to be canceled. So even though he makes it seem like some big scoop and the other guy is quoting him as though like they discovered, they discovered America or something, you know what I mean? Like as if like the best thing that ever happened ever. I personally think this is like a non story. Uh, the big story, and this is really what's important, is if Paramount fully understand that it's time to get rid of Kurtzman, and I sense that perhaps they do understand it, and if there's a way to like dissolve that contract and stop working with him. If they haven't done that, that's what they need to do. If they're smart, that's what they're doing. I don't think that like Starfleet Academy, I honestly don't think that anybody at Paramount thought that Starfleet Academy was going to be the best thing that ever happened, because Kurtzman, every show that he did was pretty much, a disappointment on some level. And Section 31, they spilled a ton of money into that. There is no way that anybody thought that Section 31 was good. Maybe he has the luck that it's on streaming. If it was like released to a movie theater, then you would see like the biggest disgrace ever. When you start kind of put it on streaming, you can get away with a lot of like mediocrity. And maybe that in that sense, like, Alex Kurtzman has been skating by for years, even though he's like, delivering the poorest results. But I honestly think that they must have occurred to them at some point that they want to get rid of Kurtzman contractually. Is it easier to do it now? How much will it cost them? Can they do it? I'm sure these are things that are being discussed. I don't think that like, the thing that moved the needle here was Starfleet Academy. So yeah, kind of calling bullshit on that scoop personally. Sorry, Sean.
Yeah, it's a very trust me, bro, kind of a situation, isn't it? It's like, yeah, because I know somebody inside that told me. It's like, oh, okay. Yeah.
Tim Hayes says they might pay a fine to keep season 2 from happening. Not sure they'll do that, but I heard they can. It's like, listen,
I don't think they would pay a fine. What kind of fine? They'd have to pay Kurtzman for not airing it when their agreement has lapsed. I don't think that would be the case. I think they'd have to eat the cost of the production. They wouldn't be able to recover that. But they could use it as a tax write-off, and it's done.
Isafobo says his contract is already over in a few months. I believe that.
Yeah, and I don't. And here's the truth. I do not believe he had any chance of getting a contract after Paramount was sold to Skydance. There's a contract. Oh, there's negotiations. Oh, it's going to happen. This is going to happen. Whatever. No, I don't think Kurtzman had even a whisper of a chance of getting his contract renewed once that sale went through. I don't think the Ellisons like him. I don't think David Ellison likes him. I don't think that they were interested in continuing. They know, trust me, they know inside of the company, whether they want to or not, whether they want to admit it publicly or not, they know that Kurtzman and Star Trek under him has been a disaster. They have lost money constantly. Each and every new show that's come out has gotten fewer and fewer people watching it. It has not drawn people to subscribe to Paramount Plus. It has not been a success. And this Starfleet Academy is just the icing on the cake that proves he never deserved a contract in the first place. And whoever signed that original contract gave him this wild, insane contract that let him do whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted, hold all these rights to Star Trek and all this stuff. It was a huge executive mistake to have given him that contract. And
I want
no,
to.
I don't think after the sale of the company, I don't think there was ever a chance in hell he was getting a renewal.
Karate Werewolf says Gemini says Tachyon's hit rate is 30%. Not great. LOL. Worse than a flip coin. First of all, yeah, 30% isn't a great rate. And the other thing is that 30% that's real is usually stuff that like he's not necessarily scooping as much as like maybe there's some whispers already on the internet that a few people are saying, and he adds maybe like a logical conclusion to something that like already everybody knows. He adds maybe one additional sentence. Even then, I don't even know if he does that. Basically, what I'm saying is that every video of his is set up that he's telling you the biggest secret scoop ever. There was like the top meeting, like, Bob Iger met with like, Kathleen Kennedy, I don't know what. And there was one other person in that meeting that ran out immediately to call like Tachyon Pulse and give him all the information. At Paramount, Ellison is sitting there with, Kurtzman. There's another person in that meeting, runs out and calls like Tachyon Pulse. Is it possible that he really, this dude that I'm seeing in this video, just my instinct, you know what I mean? Just based on instinct alone. Does it look like this guy that's sitting in England or whatever it is has these guys in like the boardroom running out to like call him every second to tell him all like the most top secret information in entertainment? I personally, this is just my humble opinion. Maybe it's true, and if it's true, if it turns out to be true, I was saying I'll man up. I'll say that I was wrong. But until now, based on everything I've seen, it's a guy that makes these sensational videos, and people just, there's a market for it. He gets followers. He gets people following him. There's a market for it. There's people that love this stuff. They just want to be fed some, some stuff that, whatever. And this isn't the first time we've seen it. I don't want to start bringing up names. Even in our closer circles, there were people over the years that popped up with all these kind of rumors. We had the whole situation with Kathleen Kennedy. There were already law enforcement officials in her office escorting her out of the building just like 4 years ago, and that was her last day at Lucasfilm, according to what we heard back then. They shut down her email. They shut down everything. And it's strange because after all of that, she stayed another 4 years like it was nothing. If you know what I'm saying, Professor.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess what I'm saying is I don't want to be, I don't want to. Yeah, he's mentioning, I agree, Karate Werewolf. He's mentioning meetings that nobody can confirm took place. I mean, does it make sense that when there's a show that everybody's laughing at it, that somebody will do a meeting and say, hey, what are we going to do with this? Is it possible? It's possible, but like, that's a logic thing. That's not like, he's not, I'm sorry, I know I sound like a jerk. I don't think there's a guy running out of a meeting with the top executives at Paramount running to call Tachyon Pulse. I'm sorry, I don't see it. But that's personally. At the end, everybody has their hustle, and I can't knock other people's hustle. I appreciate other people's hustle, even if I don't agree with it. It's not my style. I've said a lot of things in the past that I speculated or I gave an analysis of something that I thought was going on, and I think that me being more hesitant, there were a number of occasions that rather than doing the whole top secret meeting everybody leaked to me, I just gave an analysis of what I believed was happening based on the facts that I had available. And in a number of occasions, my analysis ended up being correct. But also, I never made the video saying like, guys, so, Bob Iger just called me. He gave me the info. Like, I would feel stupid doing that personally.
Yeah.
Is there anything else left? We talked about Send Help. We talked about the Academy being canceled. It's just nonsense, non-item. Wonder Man review. We talked about that a little. Trump versus Newsom. I think we went over everything. E. Clay Thomas and Sparrow. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say anything. Maybe that guy that was saying those things really believed those things. I don't really know. Uh, it's not my position, to say who heard what about what.
Yeah, we got.
All
Do you remember there were the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse that were
yes,
sent in to take over for KK, and they were running things and making sure that she didn't destroy anything else, and it was just a matter of time before she was basically perp walked out of there. And you remember all that? Yeah.
So somebody says Karate Well presents saying Starfleet is canceled is like looking outside and seeing dark clouds and predicting you saying rain, predicting rain. Yeah, it's exactly Tim A says Polly the Latino son has been having Cameron Pasha on because if Cameron can give Polly the Latino slant, I've done some streams with him in the past and he's always seemed like a decent guy. Have no issues with him. I don't know how frequently or what he does exactly. I've seen before that he like brings him to talk to him or whatever it is. Maybe there's some insider information when it comes to the industry that the guy has that could be, at least from his own experience, could be valuable on some level. I think all I can say is this. I've had some dealings within the industry myself. I don't claim, I don't go around and do all the I'm some Mr. Big Shot, because I also don't think that I'm Mr. Big Shot, so there's no reason for me to say that. That's why I've never presented myself that way. But I will say that throughout the years, there were certain situations I was in, sometimes even rooms or events with certain people. And I will say that things like this, that like the top president and another VP and top executive sitting in this kind of studio, very rare that I'm going to find out what they talked about, even if I'm amidst people that are really much bigger power players. Still, there's a lot of stuff that's very uncertain, and I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. Everybody at the end, they want to make some content. They want people to enjoy what they have to say and do. And if somebody feels the need to say certain things and that's what they want to do and that's their brand, I can't go and say that I can't, like I said, I can't, I appreciate people's hustle. I don't have to agree with what they're doing and what they're saying. Everybody does whatever is good for them. And I don't know this Tachyon Pulse guy. I don't have anything personal against him. I just personally would take, his super secret meetings that he posts about every 5 minutes, would take that with a grain of salt personally. That's just my opinion.
Yep.
Yeah, Paulie himself is nice. Paulie and I,
Yeah, I like Paulie a lot. He's a nice guy. He's a good guy.
he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
It's strange because I think that initially I was on a few streams with him and we didn't fully understand each other. But after a while, after a number of times, I think we really kind of got each other. And I get along with Paulie. I think he's a nice guy. He has good intentions, and I don't have anything bad to say about Paulie at all. So it's his right. It's his channel. He can bring on whoever he wants to interview,
Yep.
and also, sometimes you can bring a person on, maybe listen to what they have to say. Maybe you can agree, maybe you can not agree with it. I don't really have the context, but Paulie the Latino slant himself, I always given me the impression that he's a nice guy. So that's my impression.
Yeah, he's nice, and you know what he does sometimes. He tends to be very positive about stuff, right? Sometimes a lot of us can be a little cynical. We're very down on certain things. Paulie tends to really side on being positive about projects, wanting them to succeed, and you know what? That's good. We all need a dose of that sometimes. So yeah, there's lots of places where I would probably don't agree with Paulie on stuff, but that's okay. We can agree to disagree. I think he's a good guy. I think he's really nice, and I've frequented his channel more than a few times in the chat, watching streams and stuff he's done. So yeah, I like Paulie a lot.
Shout out to Robot Edit said you said in private that I had to call you Mr. Big Shot and that I wasn't allowed to make eye contact with you. The only thing in private is I send you like me sitting in Outback Steakhouse, and then there was once I was sitting at a bar drinking and eating, and there was like AC/DC playing in the background, and I think that finally I think I impressed Robot Head after all these years. Like when he saw me at a bar where there was like alcohol and AC/DC. Finally, I did something that impressed him. And yeah, people say like Klobby. You're also friends with him, of course, and he's too trusting. You know, there's nothing wrong with a guy that's nice and trusting. I personally, I have never gotten the impression that Pauly himself wants to sit there and invent like stories. He has people as guests on his channel, and they talk about different things. Not holding that against Pauly at all. And he's like I said, the only thing initially, there were a few streams that I did, and I still thought he was a nice guy. Sometimes you do initial streams, and you're not always on the same wavelength. But I think that after like a stream or two that we happened to be on the same stream, I'm like, okay, I get this guy now. And I think since that moment, and I feel like maybe it was even mutual, since that moment, I had a good vibe with him. I think he had a good vibe with me, and always given me a good impression. So he's positive, he's nice, he's whatever you want to say. Those are not bad qualities to have. So just saying that.
No, not at all. I'd share a stream with Pauly any day. He's a good guy.
Secret Hideout has to leave because Kurtzman own it. The truth is, Kurtzman, as far as I'm concerned, can go and take everything, even if there's like a contract that says like, if I go, like I'm taking Star Trek Discovery with me. Fuck it. Take whatever you want. Go and leave. Take whatever the fuck you want. Sorry, Sean. Take whatever you want. Take Strange New Worlds.
Yes.
Take whatever you want. Everything.
Yeah, I do believe, as from what I have heard, and again, we don't know all the details of it. We don't work inside or anything, but what I have heard from a few different sources is that basically the secret hideout agreement guarantees that they continue to hold the rights to Star Trek, but specifically the rights to Star Trek that they created. The characters they made, the stories they told, all of that stuff, even extending into like the appearance of characters, uniforms, things like that. So if they were to use any of those things going forward, they have to clear it and they have to pay Secret Hideout, Kurtzman. They have to pay to use those things. So I think that is probably the death knell for the continuation of anything involving Secret Hideout. What that will mean is not, oh, look, we get to hold on to rights to this stuff and we get to keep getting paid. No, what it's going to mean is that they are going to blacklist the use of any of these characters, of any of these ships, costumes, references to them, right? Gone. They are going to completely abandon the universe that was built by Kurtzman and Secret Hideout. And any Star Trek that they make will make no reference whatsoever to any event, anything that happened in Secret Hideout Star Trek.
Done.
It will for all intents and purposes no longer exist. I think that is what they bought. Oh, I will take it in a minute. I will take that right now. Tomorrow, please. Make it so that everything is Secret Hideout made. Even some of the stuff, again, I kind of liked Lower Decks. I appreciate it for what it was. It was full of references. It was very tongue-in-cheek. It's silly. Rick and Morty take on kind of a silly sideshow thing for Star Trek. But I had fun with it. I thought it was goofy and silly and kind of fun. And there were some actually pretty poignant, solid episodes that were written in there. Most of it was also pretty sort of silly. But even if it's like, oh, well, that's not part of the universe anymore, it's just its own little thing, I'm fine with that. I never really treated it like it was canon anyway. It was kind of this, like I said, sort of a goofy, sideshow, kind of playing around with the universe of Star Trek and whatever. It's too ridiculous to be canon, right? So that's fine. It doesn't have to be canon. It doesn't have to be part of the Star Trek story going forward. Yeah, take everything that Kurtzman did from the first episode of Discovery all the way through the last episode of Starfleet Academy and just let it disappear. Just go away.
Yeah,
fine.
The only thing that one could like argue about theoretically is what's his face. And again, I'm willing to give this up like without thinking twice. I was able to watch Picard season 3. It's not it has its flaws. I was able to watch it. There were some moments that I enjoyed in that show. If you told me that Kurtzman goes away, takes everything including Picard season 3, I'm taking the deal. Like it's fine. Keep it. Do whatever you want.
Yeah, it can go away. Yeah, you can lose season 3 because season 3 comes with all the baggage of seasons 1 and 2.
Right.
Picard being turned into an aging android that what?
It's basically like a Band-Aid. That's what that thing is. And
Yeah.
even though it's a somewhat almost serviceable Band-Aid from Terry Matalas, who tried his best under the circumstances, I personally, if you make it disappear and say like nobody can ever watch this again, it just it vanishes. It's basically it disappears from existence. You will never see it again. It won't be available anywhere, and you'll never be able to watch it again. And I'll be okay with that. It's fine. Just take all the Kurtzman stuff, decanonize. You're not threatening me. I'm fine. I'll never watch any of that again.
Yeah.
It's fine. I'm 100% on board. If you go and you say all that stuff is like some other timeline that nobody cares about and it's not real, along with like J.J. Abrams movies, you say everything that was like some alt Trek, and like we're going back to the the last thing that happened on Star Trek that was like legitimately part of whatever is going on there is like Enterprise. You want to go back there and continue, as if none of the other stuff ever happened. I'm okay with it. Although, to be fair, I kept saying all the time that I thought, and I'll say this and then we'll start wrapping up. I kept on saying that if they took Star Trek and went like 1,000 years in the future or a long time in the future, maybe they could somehow pretend that all this crap, they can sort of skip it and go into like a new era. But when they do the Starfleet Academy with like, 1,000 years in the future, they kind of put they came to like mark their territory on that as well. Sucks. Like it's exactly that kind of Kennedy playbook. Do a prequel, do a sequel, do a this, do a that, and shove in all of your propaganda. Such crap. Just such crap. In any case, I guess what is there people that were in the chat? Okay, here we go. On Rumble we had Divenstein, Elizabeth Quince, Reacham 842, Sean Lenane, Deeple 101, Double R Star, Red Wing 101, Sal the Hamster, and You Wrong.
And yeah, over on YouTube, we saw The Dead Man is Phobos, Caleb Levine, Tomahawk 511, The Real Head Case, Jason Webster, Ekley Thomason, Pete Roble, Lasher, Tony Grigio, Marla Sharondoff, Karate Werewolf, Keely Chow, FKHC 2005, Captain Zoom, Anti-Derivative Jill, Georgius Rex, Jonathan Conroy, Gridley, Tim Hayes, North of the Rockies, Lucy Mayo, 5700, Whalem 03, Yitis, Albatross, 4920, Dorian Aguayo, Parrothead 78, iLord Corey, Phantom Outsider, Robot Head, friend of the channel. Always good to see a Robot Head. T8 2306. Hey, it's me in HD. Blue Sunrise 2323. Destiny Captain 247. Phaser 1X. Argentum. The Lovely Sherry. And Piku. And Sydney Sweeney. I'm sorry. She wasn't in the chat. I just had a little bit of a Freudian slip there. Sorry.
Hey Marla, nice to see you here. And Marla is also a friend of the channel. Anti-Derivative Jill says, I don't give a froom about Captain Shaw. He abandoned his post and gave it to Seven, a known serial killer, Frack STPS3. That's fine. I really, like
Yeah.
I said, I could take it or leave it. I will say that scene that they're all like on the bridge together and the crew is there and they did the reunion. I kind of like that, just because it's something that fans like to see. There were a few moments that I enjoyed in this, but there were also episodes that were clearly filler and decisions that were made that weren't. I didn't love everything, but it is what it is. And I will always say this. I think that Terry Metalis was given a very difficult situation, and under the circumstances and the terms that he was given and the budget of what he could do, I think he did. You could at least tell that the man made an effort. It may not be what you wanted, it may not be the best, but I felt like at least he made an effort. I think that if you removed Kurtzman and he never made those kind of Star Treks, and you actually, years earlier or whatever, you give somebody like Terry Metalis a chance to make a show just on his own of some kind of Star Trek, I think it would have been way more respectful than anything that Kurtzman has done. That's my impression. Don't know. We'll never be able to test it, but yeah. In any case, it was nice hanging out with everybody, and yeah, I'm trying to think if there was one final thing, but I guess I can't remember it now. Uh,
Yeah, I
guess
think we covered it all.
covered it all. Yeah,
Everything that was in our titles anyway.
we did. Yeah. Yeah, you heard all the super secret scoops. We should start doing that. We should start doing videos where sit around and just say like, "Listen, Bob, I just got a call from Bob Iger." Maybe I should post a video like that. I should post a
Somebody
video.
that I know in Bob Iger's office. I can't say who it is, but someone who is in Bob Iger's office. He reached out to me today to let me know that there was some new dirt on Dave Filoni's contract. Right.
Only Bob Iger himself. Like, I don't deal with these kind of lower level sources. When I have a source, it's like Bobby himself gives me a call and he tells me what's going on. That way I can report it because I need to have the scoops, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, someone inside let me know that Dave Filoni's contract includes that he has to wear a different cowboy hat every day, or else he will lose control of the Lucasfilm Studios. So this has become a big concern because they're afraid that maybe he's not going to be able to find enough new hats so that he can continue, being the head of Lucasfilm. So this is very, very concerning.
We should make a video with a super scoop. He polished a turd, but it was still a turd. True. All right. Well, I guess we did our thing, Professor, and we can be on our way.
Indeed. It was great seeing all of you out there in the chat. Thanks for joining us this evening. Everyone out there on Rumble and on YouTube, it's great seeing you. And hey, you know what? If you're not in the chat, if you're just hanging out or listening afterwards, we appreciate your being here as well.
And like and follow and like and subscribe and all that good stuff.
Indeed. All those things.
All right. Bye.
Right. Take care.